さて見ていきますか。セブンイレブンのバームクーヘンも食べたし、気分上々です。
His experience as well. He's been around a long time.
Exactly. In Stage1, ITB, then known as TT9.
ただちょっと今日忙しい事情がありまして、
Now they're competing,
結構いい時間に終わるんじゃないかな、このままスムーズにいったらね。そんなに夜遅くならない気がする。ちょっと MNM と G2 の試合いい試合だった。まあ、1マップ目全然見れてなくて RGL 見てたから、2マップ目はずっと見てたんだけど、2マップ目の国境いい試合だったな。クイーンさんいらっしゃい。ラブラさんこんばんは。今日でも実況3試合しかしてないからな。ただなんか寒くなってきたからかもしれないんだけど、なんか思った以上に口が回らなくて自分でびっくりしたんだよな。今日マジで口回らなかったな。何なんだろうな。バーチューがいなかったら負けてた。いやまあそうだね。でも勝ちたいうちはほぼ勝てたよな G2。バーチューのモンターニュのリージョンの処理エグかったよね。国境1番目1ラウンド目のネロのモンターニュとの 1v1 かな。フロッピーさんお疲れ様です。いらっしゃい。お、ひらゆうさんも今日もいらっしゃい。ねるねるねるねるさん、ワイルド好きなんですが上がってこれそうですか。初めてちゃってありがとうございます。いやーこのマッチアップは正直ワイルド有利っすよ。ただ G2 と当たったらちょっとG2 の完成度見ちゃうと打ち勝てないとちょっと厳しいかなって感じ。結構ハードピークするスタイルにしたからね G2 は。エリックさんいらっしゃい、こんばんは。お、初見ですということでゆっくりしていってください。今日はもう最後まで見届けますよ。アーカイブにね、もうちょっとこの後 G2 と MNN 見直す気力はないんで YouTube にはアーカイブを残したいんですけど、申し訳ないですけども第1試合は抜けておりますということだけを言及しておきたいと思います。今日忙しくてさ、2マドで今プレミアリーグのブライトンとリバプールも見てる。お、マップ出ましたか。いいよ、ゴンないよ。ゴンないのはマジでいいぞ。あ、銀行ね。おい、領事館蹴ってるワイルド。昨日あんなに ITB ひどかったのに領事館。俺が今シーズンワーストマッチというぐらいお伝えしたのに。ミスクリームさんこんばんいらっしゃい。今日はマジでね、トラブルにより3試合しかしなかったから体力的には全然余裕あるんだけど。G2 が LCQ の決勝負けても 99% でインビいけるらしい。ワイルドにメジャー行ってもらいたい。ああ、なるほどね。お、今日ご飯かけご飯さんいないの。昨日すべて負ける方に全ぶっ破していた男、ご飯かけご飯いない。クソおもろかったな昨日。2マップ目だけ風呂行ってたからな。鳩月さんありがとうございます。皆さん見ていただきありがとうございました。ITB 銀行は強いイメージあるな。あれ昨日3マップ目銀行じゃなかったっけかな。昨日銀行だった気がする。ハングリーに10ポイントかけました。
Well, I'm going to be starting off on this roam clear. We've got Teb out on the rappel currently.
今何壊したの？
Now, Wylde have
ブラックアイ
played in a number of different ways over the course of not only the qualifiers but the regular stage as well. It seems as though they're going to be taking their time with this one, which is always a good way of going about it. Into the breach of set up the games.
昨日大活躍のアザー。結局エース取ったもん。あ、そう、昨日やっぱ3マップ目銀行だわ。アザーがエース取ったの覚えてる。ハングリーはね、マジでやべえと思う。昨日でもちょっと活躍したんだよな、どのマップか忘れたけど。マジでね、最初はおもろいからいじってたんだけど、今シーズンマジで活躍しすぎ、活躍しなさすぎて笑えない局面まで来ちゃった。 今なんで壊されたの？昔ローリーメジャーの時ティア2のシークレットグループステージ突破して、それレオンとか行った時でしょ。あの時ちょっとおかしかったもんな。今ほどやっぱりトップリーグが成熟してなかったと思う。まあでもこれがやっぱりリーグのヒエラルキーで、これは大事なことだと思うんだよね。ただ差が大きすぎるな、世界的に見てと思うから、その是正には取り組まないといけないね。右手にシャイクが、おおハングリー1キル取ってるぞみんな。ハングリー1キル来ました。早くも1キル。号外出てる今渋谷のスクランブル交差点あたりで号外の新聞配ってるぞ。
There's no smoke in play here. There are 2 C4s, however. You better be hoping that Noah and Azza can get into position to use those. But as we've already commented, Azza is going to be
しかもサッチャーで1キル取ったぞ。
Noah got a pretty important task here as Azza has managed to make his drop. Jonker keeping an eye on that garage.
いや絶対今日もやってくれると思うよ。今朝のびっくりドッキリシーンはワイルド対コイで、これは逆にワイルド側が仕掛けたんだけど、ニトロセルで3人吹っ飛ぶコイの選手を見たよ今日は。今日午前中見たよねみんな。びっくりした。何それと思って。
If you notice, there was an EMP detonated at the same time, and I don't know how purposeful.
あとワイルドのこのサンドボックスの背景を使ってるこのナメプ、これもいいよね。誕生日ニトロだったのあれ。ワイルドはね、でももうちょっとね、ジェグズあたりが30子卒業しつつあるからさ、パックブルとハングリーの2大巨頭かな。でもちゃんと説明すると、パックブルはマジで毎回安定してるのよ。たまになんかポカスで、ハングリーは常時安定したポカス。まあその違いだな。その違いだけはパックブルの名誉のために覚えておいてほしい。ジェグズちょうど20歳になったんだ。いやでももうハングリー1キル取ってるから。しかもデスしてないぞ。いや ITB 頑張ってほしいけどな。お、いきなり飛び出した。お、ハングリー2キル目。これいくじゃない、もう一回いくぞ。これなんで位置分かってんだそれ。いったーマジか、おかわり飛び出しいったぞ。もう近いけどこれいけんのかな。とんでもないアグレッシブな作戦いったねこれ。戻れたぞアザ。デフォカメ壊してないのかな。だってエコいないもんな。確かにカメラさん映してほしいな。カメラさん外カメ映してほしいな。
Into the fire, it certainly is, as they, like you say, just really put a spark in the powder keg of this matchup. Teb is going to drop over the balcony onto marble stairs, just going to be looking to apply some pressure from there up into.
ああでもいい差し込み、このメイン階段の上がり。うわ
Look at that, taking shots underneath that mirror window through the softball, picks up aces as well. Sorry, not it's aces that picks up Kanto, Kendrew, and Azza though fighting back once again.
いやケンドリューが昨日ちょっとフラストレーション溜まる戦い方したけど、結局最後調子上げてきたからな。いや今の素張り結構勇気あるよね。
It's mental, isn't it? There was a point there where it wasn't looking too bad for Wylde. They got a couple of quick kills, but the pace.
でもすでに4キルだぞ。
No C4s left for into the breach here. A lot of time to play with. We can see that there are a couple of players.
さすがにでもこれは厳しいね。ピークする理由がないもんね。
The diffuser isn't going to be a factor here.
いやディフューザーなんてワイルドには関係ねえんだよ。残り1分あれば 2v1 でも殲滅できんだよ。
weapon, especially in the right hands. Just seeing if he can make his approach a little bit easier here. There are a couple of razor blooms to worry about. He's already taken out one of those. Great patience from Wylde.
まあでもこれでだいぶ位置限定できたんだよ。でケンドリが思った人以上ニヤニヤんだよな。いやーケンドリうまい。全然ピークしなかったもんギリギリまで。すごいオーバーキルですオーバーキル。
Spot on from ITB, I think there. Just absolutely perfectly played. No rush whatsoever from their part. They know the clock's working in their favour. They're just going to wait for Teb to put himself in a position as he has to, that puts him at a disadvantage and then pounce. And they got it absolutely perfectly right, did ITB there. They lock it out and go 1-1. And honestly, those first two rounds sum up probably exactly what I expected out of this game. Two teams that have got a little bit
取りたかったからいいんじゃないですか ITB は。問題やっぱここやな。昨日ここあんまりうまく守れてなかったイメージあるからな。うわすげえ。
Both fairly new teams overall in the siege landscape, and so getting there is just that big statement of that's our first foundational block securely locked in, and it gives us a point to really build from. And you can see both of them know exactly what's on the line here and how important it is. And exciting stuff. 1-1, and I think we've got
EU のチームメンバー見てみるとどのチームでも20代中盤から後半の人がいるイメージですが、ラテンとか日本チームは基本若いです。そうなのかな。そんな感じかな。どうなんだろう。まあ確かに EU はあんま新人出てきてないイメージあるな。言われてみるとスポイトぐらいかな。まあまあ若いジェグズとかジェグズじゃないやジュメとかそのあたりも若かったりするけどな。今日の延期っていつするんですかね。わかんない。なんか議論してたその場で。ただまだ決定してないと思う。
They didn't just send one player out, they sent two. And that was, it gave them that real nice edge, especially when you've got those players.
いくつか案出して X-MOMENT さんに承認いただかないといけない感じになってた現場は。
Pull it off when they get left in that late round situation. Wylde definitely got a little bit of thinking to do here ahead of round number 3. They are going to be facing a difficult game once again.
当たらないんだ。今日カントの前髪がファイナル仕様だね。スーパーサイヤ人っぽい前髪になってるよ。
ground. They need to just be cautious of Nitros below as well. They need to be cautious of Jonka moving up square stairs. Manages to find a kill onto Jegs, and that is a big one to kick things off for ITB, where they've dropped away from that top floor, given up that map presence.
まあ同じ日にするのがっていうのはあるけど、でもね、どっちのチームのが機材トラブルだったか知らないんだけどさ、もう一個のチームの負担がでかくならないのかな。どうなんだろうね。
A minute 10 though, and Wylde have got a lot of work to do yet.
They do have sledge. Teb can start to rip open some of that floor. There are a couple of breaching charges knocking around as well. But it's all well and good getting the floor open. You need to be flushing those defenders out of their positions where they're feeling safe and comfortable. When you've got the threat of at least one C4 below.
そうね。まあでもそこはルールにのっとってだから寛大っていうわけではないと思う。ちゃんとルールがあるからそれに従ったってだけだと思うけど。でもなんか試合前にシージ立ち上がらないってことはありえんだなと思ってびっくりしちゃった。逆にみんななんかその時間まで何してんのかな。ウォーミングアップでもっと早くから指示立ち上げとくんじゃないのかなと思ったんだけど、そんなことないのかな。それでなんかテロ反してて温まったから一回念のために試合前に再起動しとこうと思って再起動したら立ち上がらなくなるのかな。そのあたりがよくわかんないんだよね。自分プレイヤーやったことないんで。現実よ。やっぱアザー、やっぱアザー。やっぱアザーなのよ。まあトラブルは起こり得ることだと思うけどね。でもなんかそんな、なんだろうな、試合直前に起こることなのって俺は思ったけどね。
It all comes down to Azza there for me inside
だ
of
って
that round. He
ね、
played
前の日
it
もスクリームとかしてるわけで
beautifully.
しょ、みん
Played
な。
inside of
よくわかんないんだよね。
Not an easy position to play, but when you have a man advantage and when
そ
you
うそう
know
そう、
that
なん
you've
か
got that
朝の1
early
試合目とかだったらわ
advantage
か
over
るけ
your
ど、
opponent,
4試合目ってことは
Wylde's
さ、その前にみんなアップ
struggling
とかしてんでしょ
covering
みたいに
every
思うじゃ
single
ん。
angle there. It depends on what kind
な
of
んでそんなこと
take
起きるんだろうなっ
you
ていう、
wanna do.
なんか批判じゃなくて純粋な疑問。
Like an attacker on copy
ガチで。
window, even if they're going to rotate there at a later point in the round. There's a big vulnerability there.
お、ダスクモリさんこんばんは。
Across toward that
あ、
cafeteria
1戦目は
door.
ね、見てたのよ、リアルタイムで移動しながら。
Kill from. Packball was trying to get the plant down behind the bomb, and it just wasn't happening.
本当はね、3マップ目で行ってもらってミラーしたかったんだけどね。
Because you've only got so many bodies and so many guns to point in so many directions. So while
残念ながら
they're maybe missing out,
M&M
maybe
敗
should
退
have
です。
chosen to rotate somebody in through to that copy window. But alas, into the breach. Again, doing a really good job of holding on. Kendry, 2 and 2.
普通はなんか作戦の確認とかさ、
Starting to heat up
若
here.
干やってるんじゃないかなって勝手に思い込んでるんだけど、そんなことないのか。
ITB. This time it looks like they're going to try to hold on to blue stairs. We've just seen Noah placing those ADSs at the top of the stairs there just to try and support whoever's going to play in there. It's almost a bit of a throwback, really. It's not quite. It's still, you know, a very valid technique, but it's something that we used to see almost the standard on this sort of defense would be your presence on blue stairs. But it's, you know, over time become a little bit fewer and far between. But I don't know who's going to play there, Kanto or Jonka. Would usually be the options on the Warden or the smoke. Usually, given that the smoke has the shotgun, I'd expect.
確かに M&M、俺国境だけしか見てなくて1マップ目見れてないけど、1マップ17で負けてて何が起こってんねんと思ったんだけどさ、国境に関してはプラントまで行けてるシーンも多かったし、人数より取ってるシーンも多かったから決めきれなかったよね、珍しく。M&M って結構決めきるの上手いチームだと思ってたんだけどな。
So Noah played this yesterday, and we criticised it. We sort of said, look, you'd like a shotgun there, but there was a combination of things that went on.
そう、俺もなんか不戦勝にならないんだなと思った。そこは寛大よな。うわー、あー、いやでも一人持ってったか、十分。どこだ？ハングリーさん安定のもうデスしてますよ。あ、今やられたのか。今やられたのか、サーバー階段で。なんかパックブルが今日ちょっと30時間発揮してるね。
Easily enough done.
Yeah, and they've still got the thermite on side. They can still get that wall.
出るか KOST。KOST18% の男。
On the clock, so pretty good passage of play, as you say, for Wylde there. They needed to clear those blue steps out because we know that the
そう、国境は結構盤面作りうまくいってたからね。
But as I would join you know your question from yesterday really as to you know is the Jaeger really the operator to do that with? You know, look at the situation he faced. He come around that corner. There was two of them there. That could have been one blast from the SAS shotgun, and you might have had both of them. You know, it's just a very different situation, and we've seen it work. You know, so many times.
まあ 3v3 だけどいよいよ時間が地下だしね。でもスタン4つ残ってっからな。このスタンうまく使えれば。
up there with them, but at this point in time there is not. I don't believe ITB seem to.
妖怪が重いね。
There's a bit of information available here. It seems as though Aces has hacked one of the bulletproofs, and I'm not sure if the defenders are aware because we do have players on those bulletproofs. But Kendry, he's on the flank. The plant's going down.
まあ勝手なイメージだけど、その直近で成績が悪いからってカフェはバンしづらいと思うよ。他にもうちょっと癖のあるマップをやっぱり苦手としてて、そこをバンしがちになるんじゃない？そういうイメージはあるけどね。やっぱ 3v3 だとちょっと銀行地下攻めきれないね。今日決勝までやりますね。多分巻き進行だと思う。この試合で勝ったチームも次もう一回試合やらないといけないけど、まあ多少の休憩あると思うけど、多分2マップで終わったら2マップで終わったら巻き進行すると思う。 だから今日日本時間で1試合目早かったのよ。20時スタートって今まで EU のレギュラーシーズンなかったからさ。
You've got a round or two left of your attack, and then you're going to be moving things onto your own defense. You still want to come away with a couple of rounds here. You can't be looking at this thinking, you know, what are we going to be doing? There's obviously a bit of a desync, bit of a lack of communication, or something that's been seen or flagged in some of the previous round that's just caused, right, okay, we just
まあ
need to
こ
take
こ
a
は
little bit
タイ
of
ム
a
アウト
setback
取
here.
りた
We're
いよ
maybe
な。
not playing our own siege as much as we're playing into what Into the Breach are setting up for us
友野さん
here.
ここどっち予想ですか？予想はワイルド、
This round play out
気持ちは
necessarily
ITB。
unusually for a bank upstairs, but we did see two defenders flying out of the windows, which we maybe don't see every single time.
あ、そうだね。スクリ
So,
ームで調子良かったら、まあ大体基本的にスクリームでの勝率とかを判断してるってクレパピが言ってた。
I'll put it in simple terms. Wylde cannot lose a single person to somebody going out of the window.
ジグズいつも帽子かぶってるよね。
10 seconds of the round or something.
別になんかワイルドのアパレルじゃないと思うんだけどな。
Unacceptable to be losing anybody to that again. You know, you've got to either bring your claymores along, or if you're not going to do that, you've got to be.
アザーがね、マジ強いんだよね。多分ね、この選手がレオンスキーと変わって出てきたんじゃないかなと思うんだけど、違ったっけ？ジョンカだっけ？なんかさ、マクマの映像にはさ、レオンスキーが確かワイルドのメンバーとしてインタビュー答えてるんだけど、意外に一番ちゃんと答えてんだけどさ。確かアザーだったと思うね。大福さんいらっしゃい、こんばんは。
Severe lack of nades for Wylde. Where are the grenades, fellas?
どう修正したかだね。
In siege in general, very good when attacking this site. You think you've got plenty of breaching charges, but really for
MNM 負けました。
0-2
で G2 です。
Obviously, operators are chosen more for their primary utility, but you've got to think about that secondary utility as well. And with the lack of nades, it's, you know,
you've just got to squeeze every drop. You've got to squeeze every drop. You really do.
そうなんだよね。ITB さ、攻撃に持ち味があるんだよ。だから防衛4本通されると結構ワイルドきついと思うんだよね。昨日ので何か掴んだところあるかもしれないな。元ムー&ザ・ラッツの選手ですね。オフィサーさんの趣味チーム。そうなんだ。ヒロイックのパワハラ疑惑がある俺らが勝手に言ってたけどね。言い出したのワニパニシだからさ。ワニパニシがさ、なんか目つきがなんかパワハラっぽいみたいな。でワニパニシ英語喋れるから俺マジなのかなと思って、それ海外でも問題になってんのって。いやそう思ってるだけですみたいな。イメージかい。それ以来俺らのコメント欄ではヒロイックのコーチミスターオフィサーにはパワハラ疑惑がつきまとってんだ。濡れ衣なんだけど。メジャーに向けて現段階でここは抜けてるなって世界のチームありますか？まあそれぞれやっぱりトップ3チームはトップ3のエリアは抜けてるかなと思うけど、 EU はね BDS とバータスプール両方抜けてるかなってイメージはある。でブラジルは W7M でもその W7M を倒したのはフェーズなんだけど、フェーズはマジでよくわからん。面白いアプローチしてるけどこれ再現性高いのかなってまだちょっとなんかハマる時にはハマるけどハマらない時にはハマらないみたいなのがあって、すごい立ち回りだなのはそんなことある。で NA だとまあ NA も負けちゃったんだけど俺はソニックスよりも MAT の方が評価高いかな。で日本のスカーズも抜けてると思います。マジでベスト4を狙える実力は客観的に日本人だからってひいきしてるわけじゃなくて客観的に見てもあると思います。それぐらい強いっすマジで。冗談抜きでやっぱあそこまで試合1マップの中で揺さぶりかけられるチームって世界でも屈指だと思う。オフィサーにここのコメ欄バレたら無限スクリーム地獄に叩き落とされちゃう。わかる？おいお前ら今日は12マップだぞその後ミーティングだ。スラムダンクの赤木みたいにゴリみたいな。俺さスラムダンクのアニメ見たことないんだけど加藤純一さんがずっとさなんだっけかなセリフ忘れちゃったんだけど、そんなことはいい テーピングだっていうモノマネをずっとやってて、全然オリジナルのアニメ見たことないんだけど、それが頭から離れない。なんだっけかな、セリフ今の正確じゃないな。なんかテーピングの話してるんだけどさ、なんかそのモノマネずっとやってて、それが頭に残ってる。今シーズンのスカーズは前回より上に来そうですね。いや、難しいとは思う。ベスト8はいけると思うけど、ベスト4にいけるかっていうと正直むずいと思う。実際にただフェーズ2で俺もっとビッグ3エリアのチームと当たると思うんだよ。そこではこの間の SSG 戦のような感じではなく、もうちょっと勝ち切ってくれんじゃないかなっていうのは思ってる。ただベスト8入った時にあと相性の問題だね。どこと当たるかによって決まるかなって感じかな。 BDSVP はステージ2落ちるかベスト4以上いくかのどっちかだ。まあ特にバータスプロがそうだね。バータスプロはもう当たらない時と当たる時の差がでかいからね。当たった時はマジでグランドファイナルまでいくからな。でもグランドファイナル勝てねえんだよな。だから BO5 弱いんだよマジで。バータスプロ苦手マップが多すぎる相変わらず。あ、いいからテーピングだ。それだそれだ。いいからテーピングだ。それ加藤純一さんがいつもモノマネしててさ、最近やってるのか知らないけど、何のゲームやってた時にやってたかな。そんなことはいい、いいからテーピングだっていつも言ってた。それをアニメ見たことないけどよくあるじゃん。カラオケでさ、原曲聞いたことがないけどいつも一緒にカラオケ行く友達が歌い続けて覚えちゃったみたいなやつあるじゃん。それと同じ現象。あ、今のインパクトいいね。お、まずいですよ。ワイルドの要テブさんが落ちてしまっている。これはまずい。あ、まさかの。あー惜しい。今4課としてはさ、ニトロを空いてる床から通して広く投げたかったんだけど、もしかしたらピーク来るかもしれないって恐れたな。
How important it can be now. Kendrew full white flash as Jonker manages to pick up aces.
エース落とした。インジャーだったらテブだよな。あ、テブ先生復帰してる。ダークゼロってリーグ始まる前まで最後のメンバー不明でバタバタした印象ですが、結構いいところまで行ったのが意外でした。いや、あれバタバタしてないよ。ある程度目星ライスつけて普通に大会とか出てた。なんで1ヶ月以上前には多分決まってたよ。最後のチェックを実践の大会でやってたってだけだった。まあそこで変えることはほぼほぼなかったと思うけどね。発表のタイミングなだけだと思うけど。He's going to be met by Noah. Pipeball will find one first, but a shotgun at close range is a devastating prospect. うお、すごい殴り合い。パックブルに託された。パックブル気がつけば4キル。Another successful defense downstairs in open area. No choice to Pipeball there. そうね、初世界であそこまで行けたんだからだいぶ容量分かってる。特にピョン君はね、一回容量使うとマジであの子頭いいから、その試合内容に現れない部分のところ、準備の話、事前に行ってスクリームしてブーキャンするとか、そういうところも含めて多分ノウハウ持ってると思うんだよな。まあでもブラジルとは絶対どっかと当たらないといけないからさ。So the second map will be Wylde's pick of border. We'll see, you know, how that progresses as we go. But for the time being, ITB with a good advantage here. But that said, I do like ダークゼロ1人入れ替えて順応してるのすごい。まあでも俺はダークゼロはやっぱりチーム組織ちゃんとしてるなと思うのは、自分たちが欲しい選手を必ず取りに行ってる感があって、とりあえず強い選手を入れようみたいな。まあ極論言ってしまうと今回の SSG とかそういう風に見えてたんだけど、やっぱアシン入れたんだけどさ、アシュね、もう本当に鳴り物入りで入ってきたんだけど、やっぱステージの最初の方結構苦しんでたもんね。本当にもう LCQ で間に合ったな、ギリギリフィットしたなって感じだったからさ。やっぱなんか強い選手とか上手い選手だけで判断するとああなる、いい選手だなって入れるとああなる。それはなんかシージに限らずサッカーとか野球もそう。ストライカーだけはちょっと異質なんだけど、中盤とかディフェンスはやっぱりそのチームのもともとやってきたところに合うな合わないなみたいなのがないと結構しんどい感じだった。
everybody inside of electrical waiting to burst through the castle barricade.
いやでも初戦 CAG、G2 とか引いてほしいけどな俺。まあでも BO3 とかで当たってほしいかな。いっぱいマップ見たいし。
No, just going to be opening those windows in towards CEO. All going to be about map control. Try and get, as you say, those verticals going. And we're going to have
ともぞうさんの動画でダークゼロワンチャンボール復帰かって言ってワクワクしてたからワイルドカードの助っ人にいたってことで、まああれ助っ人でもなんでもないんだけどね、もう本当にもう特例中の特例だからね。だって事前にリーグ登録してない人が選手として出るなんてマジで異常中の異常だと思うけどね。アザー強っ。単独で解決するやん。あ、うまっ。テブうますぎだろ今。SMG11 でさピャッと開けて抜いていったぞ。いやでも逃がさないね。あ、今日ジェグズがマジか。お前も30時に戻ってくるのかジェグズ。嘘だろ。
They are at a man disadvantage right now, and there's still a little bit of time for Into the Breach to squeeze here.
優勝相性のいいのと当たって優勝してほしいと相性悪いの乗り越えて優勝してほしいのカット。いやそれは俺優勝すれば何でもいいと思うよ。
And that breeze is picking up as ITB look to turn things into a storm as the verticals get going. Jegs has been forced all the way back down to the basement as well. So Packbull is in sight with Hungary at the minute. And
まあそうだね。まあでもアルクリ君とチビスクに関しては結構もう CAG の根本的なところからどうするんだ問題があって、それがやっぱり既存のメンバーで考えきれなくて決定打パピさんの加入だと思うけどね俺は。パピさんがもうちょっと客観的な視点をチームに持ち込んであげれたんじゃないかなっていう気がするけど。
I'm sure that we'll see the teammates jumping on it. At the moment, we do have Teb on one of those yokais. There is a nade going to get sent out there, and Yonka just going to have to wait before he pushes through.
何その葬式欠席するか不先輩するか選べってしたら運営側が叩かれそうです。いやでもそれでもさ、俺はでもそれだったらコーチ出せよ。だってコーチいるはずだもん、ワイルドカードも。コーチかそのマネージャー出しなさい。チームに登録してる人だったらいいですよっていうのが普通のセオリーじゃん。それをさ、ボール出してもいいですかってなって認める寛容さは俺は結構今回拍手を送りたいけどね。ワンチャンダークゼロやられそうだったけど、この後決勝ですよ。前回の傾向で考えると CAG が当たるのは3位上がりのチームですよ。そうなんだよね。確実に3位上がりのチームで EU、NA、ブラジルのどっかが来るんだよな。この間のバレルの立場、あ、じゃあノーセプの立場だとな。でもそれによってビッグ3エリアを CAG は1個に減らせるから、それ以外の地域が2チーム来るはずなんだよ多分。この間のレベンみたいなとこだ。ホットゴールドさんこんばんは。だからそれは CAG に対してマジでアドバンテージだと思うから、そこは生かしてほしいよな。そうね、 SSG の経緯も優しかったよね。1週間アシュの誕生日が来るまで遅らせたもんね、開幕。 SSG だけ。なぜか勝ったダークゼロに苦言を呈する試合でした。いや俺はもうカナディアン大好きよだからさ、かな、これじゃメジャー取れないぞって俺は言っといた。うん。
I don't know if the quiet start today is maybe a sign of something that potentially happened last night.
Surely not.
I'm not too sure what the celebrations look like, but he's having a slightly slower start of things today. Might be finding the game a little bit loud, maybe a little bit overstimulating with all of the fast moving action.
今日ハングリー順調やな。オレフティさんこんばんは、久しぶりでした。
今日は
カントが静かやな。まだそろそろカントが爆発する時間じゃないか。俺が言及した選手は限りなく今来る状態が続いてるからさ。
lot at stake, and as I say, for two new
来るよこれ。
teams here, or
カンティが来
relatively
るよ
new
カンティ
teams,
が。
you know, having that opportunity to get through to that major, to that big stage, it's what it's all about. It's why you put these teams together. So yeah, it's definitely a big proving ground for both of them. Jonker then going to be established inside of Tellers. This is attack down onto basement, so they're going to be looking to get hatches to begin with, and then the next question will likely be, how do we deal with servers? How do we get control down there?
No real presence
やっ
on
ぱスムー
blue.
ズだ
That's
よ
going
な
to be given up pretty much for free.
銀行
Instead,
慣れてる感があるわ。
it was a shield of open area. The couple of hatches open, ready to drop off, and it's done a job at wasting.
昨日マジでさ、領事館があまりにもふわふわすぎてさ、
Now, this isn't necessarily going to become a problem, but we will be able to
やっぱり銀行の方がよっぽど仕上がってるね。
tick those jobs off his to-do list.
東雲さんこんばんはいらっしゃい。
Finds one onto Kendrew. Got to ask a question of why is Kendrew pushing down those main stairs at that
RGO
point.
と上のチームの力の差がエグかったですね。まあでも、なんか EU とかも一緒よ。
You're watching the flank, yeah,
この
sure,
LCQ の
fair
Day1
enough,
も G2 と
but maybe we'll commit a little
MNM
bit.
がそれぞれティア2チームと戦ったけど、結構大人と子供だったよ。おい行こうか。ガスがきつい。いやこれでもね挟めてるかどうかなんだよね。あーでも削られちゃったね。あれれ攻撃得意なはずなのに。よろしくないですね。
struggling to think on their feet and get those answers. It's like you come in with a plan, but everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
ITB の領事館の動画もうアップされてましたね。そう、俺の話？ブラジルの LCQ もそんな感じになりそうですね。ところがどっこいしょ。ブラジルはね、MIBR とか結構すでに負けてんだよ。一応勝ち上がってきてるけどさ、ロスとかリキッドはね、問題なく上がってきてんだけど、MIBR もすんなり来るかなと思ったら、あれなんか変なチームに負けてるぞみたいな。なんだここみたいな。MIBR って今ファンタジーんだよ。コーチ今日ちょっと派手めの T シャツ着てんね。ITB はまだユニフォームないのかな。いやでもこのコーチマジ優秀よ。こっから昨日流れ変わったからな。あるよ。
And Wylde knew exactly just how to deal with it. Information has been key and it will always be key inside a siege.
今日ちょっとハングリーさんの調子が安定しますね。
Not only are they lacking that information, but it also looks like they're trying to get away with doing the bare minimum on these attacks. I want to see them do a little bit more. We need some dynamic pushes. Where was the push through garage last time? Where was the presence inside a server? It just wasn't existing.
Let's head into round 9 then as Wylde have levelled things up, and it's a dangerous prospect for ITB. I've already spoken about the map choices here. This is their map choice, and they're going to be heading next time into Border, which is Wylde's pick. And if Wylde can be going into that confident, having taken that one, he could be staring down the barrel of another short day. The last time these two teams played,
ハングリーが調子よくて気持ち悪い。
match and Wylde won 2-0. So, you know, ITB certainly don't want to be getting into that position. I'm sure that history will ring loudly.
まあブラジルは確かに新人が都会控え出てきてるんだって。まあ今一番 NA が輝いてるけどさ、新人出てきてる感じで言うと。ブラジルはなんかね、ティア2チームもなんだかんだでいい選手出てきてるイメージあるけど、でもそれを差し引いても MIBR はマジでやべえと思うけど。ハングリーさんの調子みたいなチームなんですか？違う。ハングリーさんの調子で俺のコメント欄が盛り上がるか盛り上がらないかが決まるから、俺のストリーマーとしての拡散能力はある意味ハングリーさんにかかってる。カウントどこでやられたんですか？あ、入り口か。さっきのデスマークのところ。MIBR マイナーズに破壊されてた。マイナーズに破壊されてたの？マイナーズに？マジで？
Maybe that's being fed back to Asa because he just seemed a little bit hesitant.
マイナーズだいぶやばかったけどな、レギュラーシーズン見た限り。ジェグズとハングリーお互いのアカウント変えてやってるんです。
Yep, great view that we got of that as well as Kendrew manages to level things up 4-4. I've absolutely no idea how this match is going to go.
やばいね、カントが機能してないね。フラグが機能してない。でもアザーがいるんだな。アザーがいるんですよ。今多分ね、後ろに立ってる人はレオンスキじゃないと思う。多分顔が違うと思う。こっち向いてなくて背中向けてて、なんか PC 画面見てる人が多分レオンスキじゃないかな、そんな。それね、カングルケニーっていうの。でもそのコーチがなんか優秀で、関東がインタビューの時に俺言ってた、そのコーチに。ケンさんが頑張ってる、ケンさんが。これどう判断するかだな。ディフューザーどこだこれ。多分ノアが持ってたと思うんだけどな。フラグないし展開型シール壊せないよね。プラント行ってもいいんじゃない。それどこでプラントしてんだ。
Would argue he does, given his crosshair placement right now. He's
got
good shots in both places.
4がよく生き残った。それマジでかいぞ。1じゃんそれ。いやこれね、2本車線があるかないかでだいぶ違うんだよな。お強っ。アザ強っ。アザ強すぎ笑った。ノアだけ1人後ろなんだね。でもめちゃくちゃでも綺麗だよね、このゲハ。ゲハでちゃんとやってるのがすごいわ。でもなんか食べかすがカントの後ろの窓際に置かれてないか。食べかすじゃないの。途中の食べてるやつ。2人コーチいる場合ってコーチ間だけの話し合いっていいんですかね。多分ダメなんじゃないかな。でもなんかバチコリ話してるように見えるんだよな。あ、でもそれ多分大丈夫だ。それは多分大丈夫だわ。それは多分大丈夫。ソウの銃って意外と弱いですね。まあでも頭に当たれば一緒よ。 1.5 番持ってるから強いです。
Just unfortunate not to connect any shots closer to the head essentially. The last couple sort of going into the legs and not really doing the business.
One more bullet. One more bullet would have needed. You know, he's got the
ゲーミング PC の置いてる率マジで不安になる。上ね。いやそれは地震対策で固定してるだろ一応。地震対策かどうかわからんけど、落下防止対策はしてるだろ。
You've got to give the benefit of the doubt to Asa. 12-4 right now.
でもあの位置一番俺いいと思うんだよな。宣伝になるし、メーカーさんの。そういえば今日アップデ前のフライングをフィンフィンいましたね。どういうことフライングをフィンフィンって。いやでもフィンカーは若干使ってたよみんな。もう本当に超ポイントピックだけど。
Everything works quite well because they don't need to breach. They don't need to worry about a big utility exchange. But here and now,
いやでもメジャー出場チームはな、イアナのフラグは結構でかいからな。どうすんだろうな組み立て。タチャンカバチクソ使いたいね。
Once again then, Noah up on the book. Such a common position for the book in general to get up on these windows before trying to push in. It's the shortest distance to trying to start work those verticals. It is going to be open area.
ここ取れれば先にマッチポイント。でかいね。自分たちのピックマップ。やっぱピックマップ取ってくれると試合が締まんだよな。ガチで。
Control over to ITB halfway through the round. They are moving pretty well here for a push onto open area.
Kanto just jumping into the scanner, seeing if there's anything that he can glean here, any information that can be gathered. There is of course small matter.
カントが一回あれだな、嫌なお休みだなこれ。
drones for him to find, so should be seeing a good bit of value out of that IQ scanner inside of this round. Nobody has accounted for the player hiding out behind it.
フラグ付け替え調整はしたくないってコメントについて UBI は早速した感なの面白かった。 いやー多分ねアザーに1の動き任せたのかな。さすがにだな。
He's going to try and clean up this kill.
Yeah, I think that's the case for ITB at the minute. Every time they get a foothold, every time they start pushing forward, you think, right, you know.
まあでも実はだいぶなんか整ってきてはあるイメージあるけど、おもう降りてる。こうもプラントしてる。これ結構ノアのマドロックが重要よ。一緒に降りたカントやられたんじゃないこれ。ちょっとプラントいけないね。はあノア強い。ノアが全部やってくれた。コピー窓の方が全部倒してくれた。この4ピン立ってたのでかいね。ワイルドにかけてるのでワイルドに勝ってほしい。マッチポイントですよ。お、いいよいいよ。2番にかけてる人たちが悲鳴上げ始めたよ。いいよいいよ。ノアそこまで目立つ選手じゃないんだけどね。やっぱアザーがすごいわ。でもカントがマジでへこんでる。カント本番に弱い説あるからな。本番っていうか大一番に弱い説あるからなカント。ちょっと温まってないね。結構今シーズン安定してたんだけどな。
Just sort of steadying the ship and pointing out some of those fundamentals that need to improve, and that's exactly what we've seen. They've certainly had more of the answers on the attack here, not getting to that mid-round point and just sort of stalling out. So well played from them. They've got one more round to get this first map locked up, done and dusted. And against this Wylde side, from what we've seen so far, I would suggest into the breach that you get that done now.
エースズのトキシックが先かケンドリューのトキシックが先かの戦いだなこれな。ハングリー安定してるよな今日。ジェグズがでもここまでへこんでんのめずいな。まあまあそんなことないか。でもパックブルはねキル取らないんだけどマジでデスしないんだよこの人。この人5だぜデス。5のデスってさ12キル取ってるアザーと同じだからな相手チームの。安定してるよねやっぱり。
Now, I'm saying that that's the plan. I'm imagining it's going to be something along those lines, given the lineup that they've brought. Hatches are already going to be open, so that isn't too much of a concern. Hard breach-wise, they've got can openers, they've got the Hibana, so they're going to be able to get.
ああなるほどね。それ言ってることわかるかもしれない。マジで先発ピッチャー本当なんかね乱調で試合ぶち壊すみたいなたまにあんじゃん1回で。最近ずっと減ったけど。最近ずいぶん減ったなっていう印象あるけど。
Just keeping a focus on the bottom of blue stairs. I don't think they're confident as to the.
いや本当にケンドリューとカントは流れで流れ着いてここだもんな。
So we'll find that out. Jex has been able to keep himself out of danger at the minute, out in garage, just watching for that rear-sided push to come through. But it's not looking like a play that ITB are going to be utilizing for the time being. It's all stacking up towards the server's push.
You can see the Vulcan canister just starting to dissipate now as it is.
さてテンプレかこれサーバーかテンプレセキュリティいきますかこれ。ああ確かに4かもそうだね。
There are a couple of smoke grenades, but there is the Echo. Pikebull holding that yokai drone upstairs. He does have another one switched over, but neither are in a good position to start to deny this plant. He's going to have to transition at least one of them over here as the plant does start to go.
ハングリーが仕事してるぞ。
He's going to be pushed off.
よく1個壊されたな。あ壊されたよな今。プラントやってます。さすがにその車線上からきついです。あれってこれソニックバス届くの？おギリ届いた。うわちゃんと秒数数えてるね。ただもうもう妖怪止められたぞこれ。少し必要な。うわマジでパックさん。うわ嘘だろ。その位置キープできんの？化け物だぜそれ。いや覚醒のケンドリューがいる。いなかった。 今どうサーバーのさまっすぐの車線外れたんだろう。何が根拠だったんだろうな。リプレイ見てえな今の。サーバーのモノリス裏からの車線がなくなったんだよな。パックさんが詰めるときに誰かが陽動したようにしか見えないんだよな。そう考えると。いや今結構ね妖怪ドローン使われたのに。プラント駆け引きでいい盤面作ったんだけどな。
You do have a habit of attracting them.
I really do. I really do. Don't
I remember when we started casting.
意味可能性出てた。あ、出てるわ。3% と 7%。3% と 7% って何？ ニトロはね、さっきの構成だと撃ち落とされる構成だったんだよね。ニトロに対して正面から車線取るとその縦に飛んでくるからまあ落としやすいじゃん。俺もそれだったら落としたこと何回かあるんだけど、横に飛んでくるとまず落とすのはプロでも難しそうなんで、横とか斜めとか。結構諦めたんだと思う。あと早っ。早っ。あと落としてほしい。あれ？資料守ってないんだ。珍しいね。ああ！ハングリー！まだ来てないだろうと思って工事してたら一発で抜かれた。いやーバックブルー。いやーそれは結構今のは賭けに出たね。今のがハングリーの役割はみんなわかる。ハングリーはああいう役回りなの。そうそうそう待ってたわけよ俺らはね。ああいうやられ方すると大体ハングリーなのが面白いんだよ。うわーいいフラグ。エース頑張ってっけどな。下が突き上げたのか。いやこれ引くのも難しいぞ。どこまで車線取ってか分かんねえもんな。当たりたいしな。ライン下げるとジェグズの居場所ない。HP きつすぎを。いやこれもうさ下からさノアに上がられてっからスクエア使えねえんだよ。今のでジェグスの意味も待ちだし、まあそうだね、手羽ここキープするしかないな。ここからコピー室の窓のエントリーを抑えるしかないね。じっくりいくね。じっくりいきまんな。あいやこれ位置分かっててもプラント止めれねえわ。すごい位置にいるなエースズ。さすがにやな。あれまたエースあんの？これ一番いい位置だぞ、わざ。あわざのエースタイミング。あやりきれなかった。位置変えた。ディフューザー見える位置に。まだ2ドルあんだよね。あこれ2ドル飛ぶんじゃない？あ飛ばんかった。最後はケンドリュウでしたね。いややっぱり強いわ ITB 銀行全然強いわ。ワイルドも悪くなかったけどね。でもやっぱりなんかさっきも言った通りワイルドが G2 に対してなんで勝てないかっていうとああいう負けそうな時に組織的に当たれないんだよね。今もさ局所的に全部で 1v1 仕掛けてたじゃん。まあしょうがないんだけどさ最初のポジショニングから考えるとああいう時に集まって当たろうとかっていう発想があんま見えないんだよねチームとして。だからあんまりその世界大会出てもまあ例えばスカーズとか当たったらスカーズの方が全然強いなっていうイメージ持って。ただ異次元のエイムの強さで破壊して相手チームのリズム崩すみたいなのあるかもしれない。 よし、皆さんにポイント返したいと思います。結果を選択してください。これ間違いようにいかないね。ITB だな。はい。正しい結果は ITB でよろしいですか？正しい結果を選択したら、この結果を予想していた視聴者に11万4368チャンネルポイントが授与されます。戻しましょう。ウォーデンバンは諸刃の剣だね。インバンしてるからどうなるかだね。チャンネルポイントいくいく。それはなんか運命を感じるね。
Potentially could be something along those lines because and as army on border you start thinking about things that you would ban if you were playing a game of border. I don't care who you're going up against. As army's on my list. I want that removed.
まあキャスターはさ半年も開かないけどさ、でもメジャー終わって11月中旬でしょ。そこから12日となんもないんだよ。結構やばいよな。まあ夏は1回それでいいかなっていう気分にはなったけど。ワイマール憲法制定の年ね、草。それなんかさ、あれだよね、ネタになるよね、やっぱり。数字が数字なだけに。もうそれ中学校の発生だからさ。カジノの必勝法にマーチンゲール法が有名らしい。何の話だよ。とりあえず法出しとけばいいって話じゃねえぞ。その半年間だから半年も休みねえっつってんの。2月ちょっとだよ俺は。2ヶ月ちょっとだ。
As many nasty angles as you can, soak up as many grenades as you can, and really just waste a lot of time and be a big old pain. That's what Teb's doing at the minute. Looks like he's tempted for a bit of a run out.
まあでも個人配信頑張りたいけどね。マジで自分がさチャンネル持っとけばさ、うおお閉めた、気合の補強壁。いやでもさちょっと今考えてるのがさ、自腹大会やろうかなと思って。でその人雇えないからさ、賞金10万ぐらい出したいからさ、で人雇えないからさ、雇っても観戦の人1人ぐらいしか雇えないから、ティア2チーム4チームぐらいを選ばせてもらって1ヶ月かけて総当たりのリーグ戦しようかな。ヤドンさんこんばんは。氷河のゆきさんこんばんいらっしゃい。やっぱ攻撃強いよな国境。さっきの G2 と MNM 見てても思ったけど、やっぱ防衛しんどそうだよね。アザーが全てを解決するぞ。早くも3キル、またしてもアザー。Hungry, he's been droned, his location known. Hugumine is going to get detonated there. Noah's going to soak that up. But Kendry's got the kit. And ITB are going to play to the win. 主催側って不正プログラムの判断もしないといけないですよね。まあそうだね。でもそこはもう性善説に立ってもらうしかないんじゃない？ Just a quick 4 kills, Sim. Not a big deal. Not a big thing. Doesn't like to talk about it. だからなんか採用面接で希望チームを募って、まあその4枠以上に増えたら採用面接っぽい感じで取ろうかな。まあだからある程度身元が割れてるチームだね。まあ今日のシステムとか A2 もそうだし。Do the business in the second half of this, otherwise they end up on their way because ITB could use this opportunity to build up a decent little lead. Wylde are going to switch their site. They're going to move on to bathroom and cellars. We see Packball placing those cap cans. Cap can, I think, is a really valuable operator on border. And the reason that I say that is there's so many of those. まあでも使われたらもうどうしようもないよね。Doorways that you can put these gadgets on, almost like this one that you don't. It doesn't really feel like
like a doorway. It feels like an arch. There's the couple of them in the main corridor. There's
そう、まあちょっとタイミングもあるんだよね。
Thank you very much.
そのティア2チームもね、メンバー変更に動くタイミングでもあるかなっていう気はしなくもないからさ、時期的にここでいいんだっけっていうのはちょっとあるんだけど。
Easy himself for pleasure as always. But yeah, it's one of those that can I think can be pretty brutal because you're just moving around the map and you're getting slammed by his traps and you're just forgetting that they're doorways effectively.
Are you speaking from experience here, Tim?
Was the frustration coming through?
It all sounded a little bit too real. Just that you're getting slammed by the traps. It
might have happened once or
quite
twice.
Emotive. There are a couple of capcans on this map that are almost guarantees, and I use the word almost quite lightly there because they are very much guaranteed in certain elos. Obviously, this is a little bit different. Speaking of the capcan, they're going to be taken out.
わざどこまで強いの？
He's just continuing from where he left off. Going to go for a little bit of a nade below as the focus
あとはカントだな。ここ勝って G2 とやるんだったらカントがもうちょっと調子を上げないと絶対このチームのスタンスは勝てないぞ。G2 は5人で当たってくるからな。まずいですよ。のギリ耐えた。なぜ耐えた？ニャフをかすったら終わりこれ。きつお。修行の手分にあってるこれ。
Teb is going to come under a bit of a world of hurt in a
moment. カントきたー！
Kanto sits him down there.
いやカントやっぱエイムうまいんだよな。キャラコンがうまいんだよな。
Ace is going to find some success here for Wylde as Noah will be taken down. With it goes the lion and that
Wylde のテディベア、エースも頑張ってるぞ。ドローン壊されちゃった。
Still a minute left on the clock here, and as they're going to start to transition up these metal stairs.
カントが来てるぞ。エースがいる。あ、でもすれ違ったこれ休憩。これがどう噛み合うか。これどう判断するかだね。あー、中が先に落ちた。EDD なんそれ。3人でピックしようとしてた。あれこれかなり ITB 調子いいですよ。
Final kill comes into showers and that is going to be the round ITB with 2.
I told you, it's guaranteed.
Honestly, that one is
あ、リホストだ。でもなんか頭の良さ感あるよね。アナリストとコーチが後ろであんだけ話してたら。
Good passage of play for a few rounds, and then ITB managed to get it over the line. So into the breach now, 2-0 up here on Wylde's map choice. And as I said, the first few rounds here would prove to be potentially very important. They've both gone into the breach. If they can continue on this trend, get themselves a 3-0, a 4-0 Wylde, they are going to start feeling the pressure. There's no two ways about it.
It's kind of weird as well because I would have thought the Azami would have caused a lot more trouble for Into the Breach. It's not that they showed a lack of coordination earlier on Bank, but there were a couple of times where when forced to get into that big utility exchange, it wasn't working as you would expect. But the Azami isn't causing them too many problems at the moment. At least it hasn't in the first couple of rounds. Might be about to see a little bit of aggression here. Packball is going to come under some pain and punishment.
一人持ってってる。嘘でしょ。いや今結構無茶なポジショニングだったでそれ。ダキクロさんこんばんいらっしゃい。いやでも ITB ってなんかさ、ね、このタイミングでシージ入ってきてゲハまで提供してくれるっていいチームじゃない。
You know, you've got some smoke
しかも
grenades
コ
on
ーチ
there.
もア
They've
ナリ
got,
ストも
you know,
ね
plenty of alternatives
すごい熱
to
心に
that.
やってる
But
か
you
ら
can
ね
also put those track stingers in, prevent anybody pushing that wall, swinging around the corner.
これ EMP で消すんじゃない音
Well, but they are going to go for it anyway. Kanto is planting, and it looks
うおー
like
ナイスフラグ
beautifully.
最後にフラグ飛んできた
Mazda there, diffuser goes down, and honestly, Wylde had no chance to stop
早っ
that.
そんな早いことある
あれもうなんか
解除してるよ解除してるよ
止
止めたー嘘えぐ
It was a fantastic plant from into the breach. The utility was timed to perfection, but the retake equally as good.
Fantastic siege to watch there. Sometimes you've just got to have that heads up moment of a player.
今でもアザミの手分めちゃくちゃ速かったなスピード3に見えたぞ
What Wylde did, and it was brilliant, fantastic cover from Hungary as well. You know, let's not forget the man who was left on the trigger and trying to prevent any challenge coming in towards that disable attempt. It was absolutely brilliant from Hungary. Wylde needed that round. It had been good from ITB up to that point, and you just sort of thought if they stuck that plan and won the round, Wylde would feel like they, you know, start feeling like they were being beaten up at that point. 3-0 down and a round in under a minute won by ITB with a rush plant on archives. You start thinking, how do you come back from that? But no, great play from Wylde there. They needed that 2-1. That gives them an opportunity to get into this game.
Comes back to Packball for me.
Yeah.
He took out the gridlock. If the gridlock's there, Teb isn't going to be able to get to that diffuser as quickly or as easily to immediately start counter diffusing in and amongst the chaos. So it all comes back, as it so often does in this game, it all comes back to that opening pick and what you've lost in your utility exchange. So it just puts even more importance on that 1-for-1 that Packball was able to get. He was in a nightmare spot. He was always going to go, but the fact that he took one with him, it really attested there to the round going in Wylde's favor, and they desperately needed that. They needed
いやこれ1本取れたんでかいねこのままいったらもうちょっと ITB 決めるかなっていうぐらいの勢いだったからなちょっと押されてますよワイルドさん
Yeah, you don't get to pick, you know, who you get in those early kills. It's luck of the draw usually, and I think Packball deserved that bit of luck that he had. Sometimes you find yourself in those positions through no fault of your own. Really, it was just unexpected, and he took the challenge and got the job done. Teb is going to be in his favoured position once again. CCTV on the Asami behind the Kiba barricades, looking to hold them out of the map for as long as possible. It's something I've discussed a number of times. The attackers do so well on border, and again, 今のでさすがにただ流れがワイルドに行くかっていうことは言えないけどねでもエース欲しかったファーストしかもアザー倒してくれてるこれでかいよ 7-1 だぞアザーここで初めて出てたぞ嘘でしょエースどこで取ったんだそれ
Ace is getting that opening pick. It removes a couple of nades as well.
いや俺 ITB が上がったら G2 結構しんどいと思うぞ G2 のファンだったらここはワイルドに上がってもらった方が相性がいいと思う関東回復性かわあノアいい刺し方してるそれスクエア側がクリアだったら絶対刺しに行けるぞそれなるほど F ナットで管理してんだおケンドルー空いてたそこそこどこに F ナットあるのカントまずい2階のロックが2階のロックがまずい状況ですこれ2階どう構うよ結構行くのきついぞしかもエリア広げられてるしでもノアが広がってるの見つけたねしかも正面玄関崩された結構上のジョンカが攻め手だったのに潰し役が裏の4カだったのにね潰されちゃったね今のカント結構痛いね
Wylde drawing themselves level with a
聞いたよね、
very
早めの
good
EDD
downstairs
い
in
つでも
workshop.
聞くじゃねえかそ
That
れ。
round for Meetim, it was very reminiscent of
影さん
some
フォロー
of
あ
the
りがとうござい
struggle
ま
rounds
す。
that we saw on Bank from Into the Breach on the attack, where it is just very one-dimensional and there's a single point of focus and everyone else that's off doing something doesn't really achieve their role and it forces them into this
まあ国境は確かにね分かりづらいよね、色的な意味で。
through that bathroom area trying to get the breach open. If you haven't got top floor control, you're just going to die to the hatch. The long angles were still there to be abused. There was no one on that main entrance. A lot of different things really just stacking up against Into the Breach there with that attack, and I understand they lost the opening pick, but they've got to have a further plan than just that plan A. You know, they need that plan B for when things don't go too well.
Yeah, and this is, you know, what we picked up on Bank at times, you know, was getting to
そうね、防衛4本は欲しいね。防衛マップということであれば。あなたの EDD はどこから CM のコピー拾ってくるんじゃない？
roaming around putting the cap cans out once again. We've got a few in different positions, I think, but he has tried that one down the bottom of East stairs.
そうです、これセミファイナルですね。
around that archway.
先に G2 が勝ち上がってます、別の山は。私は喉から、私は足から。足って何？それ水虫じゃねえの？
Just trying to take their eye off the ball when moving through that area as well. I've said it about Malusi's Banshees as well before now. Something, you know, I'll always place them on the
ちなみに俺はね、水虫になったことは過去人生であんまない、本当に1回か2回ぐらいしかないんだけど、水虫になりやすい足ではある。
Just a little freebie there. Just a little tip for free.
Ah, you take that away with you.
だから気をつけて。
I'll tell you
よ
what,
くお風呂に入ってゴシゴシしま
Banshees
す。
on the floor all over the place.
Just everywhere. You're going to be dying to Banshees on the floor
Yeah,
because you're looking
I will,
down.
because I'm looking down. Exactly.
Azza going to be on the ash this time.
これカントのカメラ映ってるけどアザーだ
Much of
か
a problem taking in security.
ら。アザー7の1はえぐいだろ。これカントだからな。これノアじゃねえからな。
Kanto going to be looking at making a
急にカメラずれ始めた。
the top of these east stairs as well. They're attacking into bathroom.
あ、5本指ソックス確かにいいよね。でも履くのめんどくさいね、5本指ソックス。 お風呂入るとき入浴剤入れますか？入れますね。僕入れますよ。いろんな効能が試せるやつ入れます。
Alibi is just one of those operators that can be very slippery, very quick to move around the map. Gun not always fantastic. I mean, I like the storm, but not always.
うわ、すごい人数で入っていた。うわー、いや、ナイスカバー。これ起こせないだろうな、ケンドリュー。
Just to pick up Yonka, but Noah is there for the trade. Kendrew downed along the way though, so that leaves us effectively in a 4 versus 3 at the minute. I'm not sure if there's going to be the opportunity to pick the ace up or not. I think that's actually happening at the minute. Yes,
起こせた。
so Kendrew will be back up onto 20 health. Just
あ、
slows
いいフラグ。
ITB down by
それ窓まで届いたらいいフラグだな。ああ、そっちの1枚の裏か。2個目届かなかったね。ダブルピーク。いやー、いい挟み込み。窓が先に落ちたからね。いや、よく立て直したぞこれ。いや、この少人数、これがさ、なんかチームとして取りに行ってる感じがするんだよ ITB。これが一番うまかったの MNM だったんだけど、今日 G2 にそれでクラッチで覆されちゃってさ。でも G2 のこの力に勝つにはこういうアプローチしかないんだよね。あとは締められるかどうかラウンド。作業潰したそれ。どうして潰した？うわー、いいスタン。まずはガジェットからプラント取った。
Going to be a very difficult one, especially given Azza's position. The presence of mind to stay upstairs there, to not commit to the hatch drop, to trust his
おい、みんなハングリーのクラッチが見れるチャンスだぞ。ハングリーなら。ハングリーなら。あるよ。
Excuse me, it's going to be Kanto that is going to be above Noah.
あるよ。
but as mentioned, it doesn't matter what goes on the site. It doesn't matter how good Hungry can be because this vert should be covered here.
あー、これはカントの駆け引き勝ちだね。今のうまいね、足音出して一回もうガチ解除外したらさ、7秒切ってたからね。
as
いや
well.
ハングリーさんはね
Creating an opportunity for that execution to get the diffuser
忖度なく言うとマジでうまいのよ。うまいんだけどなんか連携が下手なの。チーム組織だって動けないの。それがハングリーさんなの。今みたいなやっぱ 1v1 クラッチ、ね、以前エース取ったようにインでね、国境といえばハングリーさんうまいんですよ。ただなぜか組織的な行動ができない。あ、テブが今度引っ込んでるね。確かに
Final round as the sides currently sit.
さっきジェグズだったのにな。
Gonna see a hefty amount of six picks coming in here. We've got the Thatch coming in, the Switch, and the Ace. Now we've seen all sorts of different rounds from Into the Breach so far. One that
ハングリーさんは味方にも敵にもチャンスをもたらすイメージ、そういうことだな。
to workshop. It's a pretty
ハン
one-dimensional
グリーさん
approach.
パープロで言う負け持ちだから分かる。それ分かるね。
Vertical clear, so
それそれそれそ
I'd
れ
like to see that be a little bit more of a focus here and now. But with the lineup that they're bringing, it does look like they're going to go for something quite similar. They've got the hard breach, they've got the Thatcher, so they're looking to try and guarantee breaches be opened. They do have a little bit of nades to work with as well. They've got that
3-2 です
option to
ね
do some vert with the
結
sledge.
構この1ラウンド運命
So
分けそうだよ
where they
な。
start to try and stack up here, there's a
これワイルドピック
typical
でしょ。
approach that's going to be trying to clear out that top floor.
今のところ ITB の方の良さが目立ってるけどね。
But Teb, he's going to see to that shock drone.
Again, just able to lock himself in that position. I think it's somewhere that he's played well so far. Just going to be up on the boost.
あのさ、負け運マジで意味わかんねえよな、パワープロの。まあなんかその状況になるとさ、ついちゃうんだけどさ。
Exploring options, opening up that passport door. You know, sometimes you drop the barricade just in the thought process of maybe I'll need to go in there later in the round, maybe somebody else will. If it's not a danger to you, it gives you that opportunity to do so silently without having to knock that out. So Teb, he's still in position. This is looking good for Wylde so far. They've got Packbull in behind the mirror.
ワイルドのスタイルが合わない可能性、恋のクラインとお試しトレードします。ああ、悪くないかもしれない。真面目な話。クラインはね、生真面目そうなやつだから、あの変な時の事実じゃない限り適用できそうだけどね。でも結局あれなんじゃない？結局さ、なんかやりたいんじゃない？何が起こったのこれ。なんで一気にキルが重なったの？武器から抜かれたのか？結局レオンとやりたいんだよ、クラインは。アギネコさんこんばんは。
Shaping up nicely for an even half here, unless Noah has something to say. But realistically, it's going to be a tough all.
さすがにな。
He doesn't even get through Teb.
今何が起きたのか分かんないな。テブのラインは分かるんだよ。ここで1枚ぐらいは持っていけるかなって思うんだけど、あとどっからロッカーの中かな、武器庫ロッカーの中からやられたのかな。
Well, that's exactly where you expect the army to be, and Teb's done such a fantastic job on it.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? That's exactly what I'm saying there. You know,
ミンゴの兄弟で恋が脱落したのはとっても悲しいよ。ミンゴの兄弟なの？いや、俺はもう恋はもう相当低評価だったよ、今シーズン。いや、だってチームとして形になってないもん。いやもうダメだろうなと思ってた。あ、ジグソーか。なるほどね。ジグソー頑張ってたけどね。松井しこたさんでいいのかな。ほらありがとうございます。まあでもあの3人は本当に運命共同体なんだろうな。でももうお仲間内閣はマジでやめた方がいいと思う。ちゃんとコーチ入れて客観的に見れる人入れないとマジでどうにもならんと思うわ。本当に選手続けたいんだったらね、厳しい話だけど。だってもう入る人いなくてさ、ホスティとかあれも完全にお友達だろ、レオンの。全然パフォーマンスダメだったじゃん。
I think this now for me really comes down to how well do Into the Breach use the bans that are available. Obviously we've had the Warden ban. It's a really important pick, but it isn't necessarily a make or break operator.
恋は金持ってると俺信じてるんだけどな。ピケがオーナーだし。
You start to think to yourself, okay, how are Into the Breach going to take advantage of the fact that they've got a Solace, Ephemeria, a Mirror, and
いや、スポイトが抜けただけでうんぬんじゃないよ。なんかチームマネージメント的に死んでるあのチーム。もう僕は酷評です。
So we'll see how that develops. Obviously, they've gone for a slightly different approach, and it seems that Hungary's almost single-handedly just dismantling it. He's getting a lot of value out of those shock drones.
Just going to be sending in the regular drones now, try and locate a few of these players.
あ、そうそう、そうだ、俺それを思ってたんだ。MNM の5人取ればいいんじゃないと俺も思ってる、恋は。恋の財政状況悪いんだっけ？恋もダメなんだっけ？いや、恋はピケ金持ってるから大丈夫。ピケが絶対金持ってると俺は信じてるよ。元バルセロナのセンターバック。あいつ手堅く投資とかしてるらしいからな。あら、やっぱ攻撃に自信があるのか。今誰か走ったように見えたけど、あれだよね、知れてなかったよね。いや、ケンドリューよくエリア広げたな。それ後締めていく。いや、 VP 見寄りできないんじゃない？ロシアのチームだったら。ロシアのチームでだって他に強いとこあるか？俺もそこまで詳しいわけじゃないけど。
Wylde now starting to spread themselves out and figure out just exactly where this push is going to be going. Kanto, he can call out that info, can attempt the impact trick over the top, but it's not going to work out for him.
It's not. That fountain wall is still going to get opened up. Ace has managed to find one with a nade as well. Kanto's on the run at this point.
いや、まだアザが残ってるよ。ニトロも残ってるよ。それ何が見えてんのさっきから。うわー、なるほどね。そこ F ナートで管理してたから見なかったんだ。実際なんかミーピーとスポイトとカントたちが意見を割れて、ミーピーよりレオンに意見を求めたり、内部分裂から今に至るから余計かも。そうなんだよ。いや、だから俺レオンに怒ってんの。だったら責任取れよレオンと思うけど、全然責任取れなかったじゃん。
Wylde, they take the advantage on border, and I honestly think Into the Breach are probably up against it now on this map.
I think they are. A 3-3 split for Wylde on the defense was huge and probably a win condition of this map because we know what this team's capable of when they get themselves onto the attack. They're a very explosive attacking side. Yesterday we spoke of the fantastic teamwork. I think it was Leo that did a piece on the desk even this morning. Just about how good
パパになったので許してください。それとプロ活動は全く関係ないからね。いや、職にあぶれないでほしいなと思うけどさ、まだやれると思うし。でも今の恋の不調に対する責任はプロなんだから俺は取らないといけないと思う。
Very often it's going to be off the back of some drone information and a player that's entirely unaware.
いや、自分でさ、その感情的になるっていうのが分かってるんだったら、いや、チームのリーダーになっちゃダメでしょ。なってもいいけど、サポートちゃんとつけないとダメでしょ。まあそこはレオンだけのせいじゃないけどね。チーム全体でそれは考えないといけないけど。
Really got their work cut out here as we move on in. They are going to bring the Azami this time. It's going to be Noah to play that. We can see if that makes a little bit of a difference in maintaining that roam for a bit longer. We also got Azza going to be rocking the pulse for a bit of information.
Look at this from Noah. What a little nest he's created himself here at the top of these stairs. It's going to make it so difficult for Wylde to be able to push on in there. Need to be, you know, looking.
息子にトキシック継承しなきゃいけないから。すんな。トキシックの鎖は断ち切っていけ。あれ壁の向こうか。
East stairs. We've got the pulse of Azza just feeding that info in as well. Going to be reporting at least 2 at passport doors, so that gives Into the Breach a good idea.
ここであれだな、ワイルドが国境に自信持ってこのマップを選んだかどうかわかるな。お、ハングリー戦術核の多さ持ってるぞ。
you're going to have to bring him. You've got to find space for them in this lineup because look at him go. Noah.
まあでも組織が崩壊する時ってそんなもんだよな。正
right
直。
He's safe as houses. He's even got a mirror window for a trade if anything really does come and put a lot of pressure onto him. Noah only loses this position if he really gives himself up and if he overexposes. And the Wylde need to try and figure that out. It's going to be hungry to get there.
Hungry.
I'm not sure where that headshot came
結
from.
構ダメージ負ってるな。
I spoke it had only be given up if Noah overexposed himself. I can only think that's what he did to him.
You'd have to expect so, and that's going to be a big clearance for Wylde. Like that was looking like the big sticking point for the map. Kanto now having to.
ヘングが認めたハングリーの盾は長だろ。わ、カントいった。エアジャブの音聞こえなかったのか？普通に乗り込んでいったぞ今。いやそのインパクトでも危ね。危ね。よく踏みとどまったなそれ。
Or was it just Kanto? Kendrew, Asa get one apiece. 3 versus 3 with the diffuser down on the ground.
いやー惜しいカント。いやでもいいトライだね。これでだってここの位置に入り直すのはかなりでかいぞ。ケンドリーいた位置でしょここ。さっきクレーマー踏みとどまったのマジで神だな。いやこれプラントはむずいんじゃないの。ニトロあるぞだって。いやー止められないか。いやー仕留められなかった。あでもジョンカが広がったところ抑えてくれたぞ。エースだけだ。これ上からだと管理しきれないんじゃない？多分ワンチャン車線切れる位置で解除できるよね。まだ打たない。ジョンカが救ったね。
There with the direct trade, Azza, he's going to be able to disable that active diffuser. Great clutch from Into the Breach.
Both of these teams just enjoying proving us wrong time and time again today. I think, you know, just the last round I'm saying, I think that Wylde will have a big advantage now. They'll start to get moving on the attack and then Into the Breach come back with a great defensive round. Despite losing that power position at the top of these stairs they were trying to hold on to, Kanto had a great round.
いい試合いい試合マジでいい試合。
You know, his survivability was certainly fantastic and he made
質が高く緊張感があっていいね。
you know, confidently push where they wanted to.
あごめん今セブンイレブンのゼロサイダートリプル乳酸菌飲んでる。これ糖質ゼロ脂質ゼロカロリーゼロでガセリ菌がいっぱい入ってる。
Good on him for persevering there and good on the rest of the team. I think Azza played a blinder there. We joke around, but we did get the revival onto Kanto as well, coming through as he screwed himself down the hatch. Got a little bit of Eminem's SI chance up here on the screen. I assume these are stats from Sprabruni. So Wylde win depends on map 3. Into the breach win 7-1 or 7-0, 29%. Into the breach win 7-2 or worse, 24%. So Eminem's SI chance is well and truly out of there.
そうヨーグルトっぽい味のやつ。
It's looking quite slim.
俺乳酸菌あんまり取ってないからさ、こういうの飲んでやってる。ビーズ好きからガセリ菌くら替えしたのに何の話？乳酸菌だったらどっちでもいいだろう。いや今よくクラッチにあれだね気づけたね。
But then the Brava clutch drone will be taken out before it can grab any more electronics. Noah in another one of these positions that he's just going to try to hold on to for as long as he can. He really is the player that is going to be put under pressure consistently round to round. Packball picking up Kanto. Kendrew there for the trade though, leaving us 4 versus 4. Good progress though. Diffuser down. So that's something that Wylde need to consider. That is going to need to be recovered. But with 2 minutes left on the board, they've got an age of time to get this done.
A lot of time available for Wylde to figure this one out. We've got aces upstairs.
あヤクルトもいいね。ヤクルト1000だっけ品切れしまくった。あれ今年のヒット商品だよねヤクルト1000って違ったっけ？去年だっけあれ覚えてね。
going to be attacking into workshop, so again.
MNM はまだこの後勝てばインビチャンス残ってるのか。ああ、順位決定戦。去年か。全然覚えてないね。マミ甘すぎじゃない？
As you say, I think the range extended so far then that Ace's breathing would have taken him off the scanner. Each time he took a breath out, but Asa is able to pick him up. The location information did the job, and Jonka just moves into showers here. I'm not sure if he knows there's somebody in there with him. I think he's got a good idea, but do they know he's in there? その位置はピーク遅れるよな。あ、やりきれんかった。 Needs to be careful that he doesn't lose that fight. Noah picks up Jags, traded out
ガチンコや。
3 versus 2. Still advanced.
入れたは入れたが。
ハングリ
ーさんどこ？人知れずひっそりと蜂を撃ったハングリー。あ、それ蜂に、あ、そうか味方か。通った通った。あ、やりきれんかった。一応確定した。テブさん見るところが多い。最後はアザーかやはり13の4。引くほど体悪い味するからマミは好き。ここ SM をみんなの SM の配信なのかな。
What a position for them to be in, you know, coming into stage 2 as a new team and being now in a point where they can fight for a potential major spot in a grand final. They're 2 rounds away from it. That is absolutely
まあまあまだ流れがどっちに傾いたってわけじゃないから。まだまだこれからよ。
They've got Kanto and Kendrew, 2 of the most experienced players in Pro Siege. In all honesty, into the breach in terms of pressure and managing the situation.
ただここ1本取られたら一気に GG になる可能性はゼロではない。
Pretty good so far.
A little bit of a 6-pick coming out here for Packbull. It's going to be switching across from the ace onto the Flores. With it goes the hard.
ウサイン・ボルトのトキシック発動。
So you are going to limit yourself a little bit.
すごい猛烈なダッシュで
You got to wonder just exactly what the
ワイルドの選手の家に乗り込んでいくんじゃない？ハングリーの家に乗り込んでいくんじゃない？負けた瞬間に俺らはウサイン・ボルトがドアをバンって開けるところを見て今シーズン終わるんじゃないか。トモさん明日の昼の仕事休みです。さすがにね祝日なんで。あと月曜日はあんまりオフィス行かないから在宅にしてるから。
Maybe that's a little bit as to why the Flores has been chosen here as well, just to help to deal with that labyrinth. It's going to be Hungary kicking things off, getting a little bit of value out of the shock drone. We're seeing so much Twitch at the moment. Now, I'll be honest, I really enjoy it. I think that
危なかったね今。あ、でも動かされたな。今のフラグで動かされたとこ差し込まれたね。ノアが結構やられてるね。
consistently controlling that F2 recoil, which is pretty extreme now compared to certainly what it used to be. Aces is going to take the challenge on.
いや今情報取ってくれたのマジででけえなケンドリュウ。ただお互いに削る。
Wylde have got themselves the advantage course 4 versus 5 in their favor.
これでもアーマーパネル重いな案外。
Struggling to get themselves fully established in office.
嘘だろカント。すげえ勝負の仕方すんな。あーでもフラグで捕まっちゃった。
Ace is going to be making that nade sing here. Commented at the time that Teb had him and forgot that Ace is had him as well, and he certainly reminded me.
エースが壊し始めたぞ。
Teb joining the ranks too. Azza, he has a C4 and he's got a bit of vert, but he's up against all 5 attackers here. Flank going down and Teb, you just get the feeling he was just waiting for the moment, wasn't he? He was waiting for Packbull to start.
ここあっさり取ったからわかんないぞこれ。在宅ワークになってから謎の人扱いされてめっちゃ話しかけられるようになった。どういうことそれ？ そんなことある？
That's going to be the timeout.
ITB いいタイムアウトだな。これ決めに行くためのタイムアウト来たぞ。コーチ優秀だからな。ここで流れ変わるぞ。
Having a couple of opportunities to get themselves onto match point, but this will be the last of those two. Now that we're at 5-5, we're going to see all 12 rounds here, no question again. Could be heading for a bit of overtime. We will see. Honestly, this is anybody's. It's toss of a coin stuff, is this? I really thought Wylde would come in and run away with things on the attack.
これサードマップ行ったらどっち有利予想ですか？サードマップどこだっけ？高層ビルか。高層ビルだったら俺 ITB の方が有利だと思う。なんでかっていうとモンターニュ戦術が必要になってくるから、モンターニュバンされなかったらケンドリのモンターニュかなり強力だから。あとそういうなんか長とかなんかモンターニュの卓をちゃんと持ってるのは ITB のイメージがある。やってくるんだけどワイルドの方も完成度が低いっす。
Knees dropping, so you can only assume it was an effective timeout. And teams are usually good for a round after a timeout anyway, regardless of who the coach is. That's, you know, it's no slight onto any coach out there, but usually teams are pretty good for a round after a timeout because it gives them a chance to really start to hone and focus in on something. They're going to know that they're going to be attacking, or they're going to be defending downstairs into bathroom and tellers. Being successful here previously, I think I'd like to see how
ハングリーモンタの何がいけないんですか？車線にすぐ入る。
a lot more nades being brought from Wylde because the YMI discs are only going to do so much there from Kanto if he chooses to place them at the top of these stairs again. If Noah does choose
でも
to
誰だっけ？
create
俺この
maze of safety,
誰だっけ？車線に入りすぎだろこのモンタって言ってたの誰だったっけ？あれ誰だったっけ？車線入りすぎですねって言ってたの。昨日か一昨日言ってたよな俺な。誰だっけ？レオンだ。レオンのモンタだ。レオンのモンタマジでやべえ。あれはやべえ。お、ワニポリシー。ワニポリシー今何時そっち？いや、勝ったんかい。嘘でしょ。アザが救ってくれてる。14の5。17時。あ、全然いい時間だね。
engagement, so he's not going to be too keen to get into a head-to-head battle here, and Azza just wants his opportunity to put that UMP to work.
Another way of dealing with it is just to entirely ignore it.
いや結構こうやってさ広がって当たってくるからさ、多分フォーカスされるときついと思うんだよな。いやでも立ち回りがうまい、さすがエース。でも削られたね。HP ジョッキはそこまでよくねえぞ。
Got both aces and Teb sitting pretty low now. There are no C4s remaining on the side.
フレッシュの配信でハングリーさんの縦使用時のデータ見せられたけど、です多くてクソ笑った。マジで。いやマジでひどいのよ。あ、戦術核のハングリーさん落ちちゃったぞ。しかも HP フルだったのに。どこで勝負したんだそれ。いや結構フリーキル多いんだよやっぱワイルド。さっきから言ってるように全員が広がってさ、なんか収束していくのが結構終盤だからさ。やばいぞ。ワイルドにかけた人間たちが自ら GG の香りを感じ取ってるのはまずい兆候だぞ。わ、バレた。下の情報は取れてるのかそれ。いやーこれ階段にいたらそっからいけないだろパックベル。いくらさん残ってたとしてもいい決め打ちすんなのだよね。今のはねノアが誘ってオフィスにいた関東の車線で仕留める想定だったんだよな。
doesn't have the diffuser. He's got 35 seconds and he's got two players.
テブの HP は見るよ。絶望の F だったよ。位置確定しちゃったわよ。マジですよ。ディフューザーどこに落ちてんだこれそもそも。あそこ階段ね。
But it seems though into the breach you're just going to let him. It's probably the safest thing to do right now. They can try and
ニ
get
ト
this
ロは
one
ないぞ。
down.
これどうすん
Now
だ
into the breach have to react. Kanto can choose to hit the drop. Kendrew, he's going to hop himself over the top and try and catch them in the 1 versus 1. But it
あ、まずい。
doesn't
危ねえ。
He takes Kanto down. Fortunately, Kenny is
結構ギリギリのギリじゃん。
A very important kill from Kendrew. That gets your heart beating.
It really did. I thought into the breach had maybe just made a little bit of an error there. I had no issue with them
ハングリーに
allowing the
HP なんで
diffuser
関
to
係
be
ない。
collected, play Kanto above, force him to
状況的に
plant.
一番
There's
最
only
初死んじゃいけない状況だった
15 seconds left. You know, yeah, no problem with that. They won't necessarily know how low health Teb was at that point, but I just think they left it too late to be able to challenge him when the diffuser was going down, and I just looked at that and thought there's a world here where Teb wins this against Kendrew, granted with the low health, again making it very difficult, but that's not something that ITB could necessarily have been aware of. They'll have no doubt had a call from Jonka that, you know, look, I lit him up at the beginning of the round, but still a bit of a risk from them. A good win in tough circumstances. I like the
まあでもまだ流れは
Kanto up at the top where Noah was being pressured
全然
by
ITB とは言い切れないからね。
and they just had no idea
でもやっぱりさっきから言ってる通り、ワイルドの弱点は広がって攻めるから、特に攻めの時に。お互いにその場所でなんとかキル取ってくれよ 1v1 でみたいな。一応情報サポートとその誘導みたいなのはあるんだけど、根本的なその削り合いができないからさ、カバーが入らない、トレードが入らないっていう状況になりがちだから、そこがやっぱり未来を感じないんだよね、この戦い方。
Oh, I'll tell you what, very close indeed. I think Kenny played it really well. If Kendrew would have overpeaked that or overswung, I didn't really get a good handle of where Kanto was coming from. But
結局このゲーム、攻撃と防衛がどっちが強いと思いますか？防衛です。絶対ゲームの本質的に防衛が絶対強いです。お互いに分かっているマップの中で建物に入って待ち受けられる方の構造が絶対強くなるんで、その普遍は変わらないと思います。ただオペレーターのガジェットでそこを壊すことはできるので、今それを指輪さんすごい頑張ってるなと俺も思いますよ。まああとサイトとかかな、銃の。まあそれでバランス取るのどうよって思う部分もあるんですけど、ゲームの本質は絶対に防衛が強くなるはずです。構造上、ゲームデザイン上ね。それは僕は言い切れると思います。サカハクションさん、初めてちゃったありがとうございます。いえいえ、こちらこそありがとうございます。コメントいただいて。ドローン加味しても防衛有利ですか？全然防衛が有利ですね。なんでドローンを止める方法なんていくらでもあるじゃないですか。壊す、ディスラプター、ペストランチャー、ソリス。
removes a little bit of Kendrew's ability to play up there and actually forces him to drop on out. So a fair trade there, I would suggest. Noah?
あとは防衛が圧倒的に強い理由がもう一つあって、マップの再構築が防衛側ができるからです。だから主導権は絶対防衛側に残るんですよ。入ってるね。おお、すごいハサミだな。それエース噴水上から投げたよね。いやでもここなのよ。ここカバー取れないじゃん、エースの動きって。これで絶対まくられるじゃん、ファースト取ってたとしても。さっきのファーストマップもファースト取ってたよね、確か。ワイルドの方が。
The Kanto is going to be forced to drop away, so that's something at least. There is no vertical presence left.
そうなんだよね。ITB の方が絶対なんかその人数イーブンに持っていける能力高いんだよね。すごい位置を抑えたね、アザーそれ。ただ今のところその留置場にフォーカスは当たってないから。
Jex is going to transition down these east stairs now. He does have a player inside of Tellers to contend with and some good information.
当てる当てる。よく生き残ったね、それ逆に。あ、でも今なんか別の初戦入ってたよな。あ、なんか入られてんのか。パクブル、パントシート。見えた！うおー、剣道流！打ちかねんかったけど、あ、ディフューザードロップ！はあ、止められた！決めたー！ 今一本釣りしてたね。いけたかなと思ったけど、ケンドリューが落ちた時点でその時点で5秒切ってたわ。いや俺の本命第1候補 MNM、 セカンド候補ワイルドだったんだけど、両チームともベスト4で散ったね。わからんもんやね、やっぱ勝負事は。素晴らしい試合だった。アザーが強すぎます。ハングリーでも今日頑張ってたけどね。さあそれでは皆さんにポイントを返して信ぜようかな。勝ったのは ITB。 G2 が蹴ったんだ。でも最後銀行残したの悪くないんじゃない？これちょっと ITB メジャーの絵の道見えてきたんじゃない？メジャーでコケにしてたんだ。あれでしょ、俺だったらスカーズに勝てるって言ってたでしょ。結局お前らインビにも来れねえじゃねえかよって話だからな。モンハン一瞬だけテイクチャージ e スポーツ母体とかあったん一瞬で欲しい。何それ。はじめとかそれ、はじめ誘んでたのはミロシじゃない。はじめはミロシやで。あれだって俺らが教えたのになんて最初に言うのって聞かれて。
This is the big call for me. So G2 have got Skyscraper and Bank, and realistically, I would have thought that G2 might have picked Bank over Skyscraper.
デザチ CEO& ファウンダーワンアップセールス。へえ。
G2 have had a lower preference on Skyscraper recently, and they're taking a big gamble that ITB don't play it and haven't worked on it. Because ITB had
お願いベンジャーからシーヌグイバーチューで草。確かに。
If we get to Bank Decider, I think it'll be very scrappy, but based on the bank we've seen from G2 in this LCQ
あれ
bracket,
これさ、
I would just
あれ俺賭けしたっけ？あれ今賭けしてないよねこれ。ちょっと待って賭けしたっけ？予想の管理。あしてた。その賭けしてからもう40分経ったの俺。あ違うわ。ずいぶん前すぎて笑った。
It's very like dependent of who you are as a player and in the whole identity of your team. For ITB, it definitely favors them to be straight into another game because they're rolling on this momentum. Personally, I like this. I love it. I wasn't too tired after
G2 が勝つと信じて風呂行くか。早くね。試合始まってすらねえぞ。オキシゲンインビ確定でないんですか？オキシゲンインビ確定どころかインビいけないの確定してるよ。オキシゲンがいけるわけねえじゃん。オキシゲンを見せようか。めちゃくちゃ低いんだぞあいつら。やばいんだよ。びっくりするぐらい低いんだよオキシゲン。オキシどこだ。あちょっと上がってたわ。44位。ここ140ポイントです。ハブゲーミングの方が上だぞみんな。見てくれ。ハブとイグシスの方が全然上だぞ。全然だって結果残せてないもん。もういけないっす。ロスとかまだ可能性あんのか一応。ITB も上がってきてる。
So at that point, how much it's very, very, very small marginal gain.
シンタネグラ e スポーツこれどこ？
Like I said, for ITB, if anything, こ
れブラジル？あ違うな LATM で生き残ってるチームか。LATM 意外にまだ残ってるんだ。あまだ結構 LATM 残ってるんだね。いやまあオキシゲンクソ下なんだって。マジでポイント取れなかったもんインビポイント。いやまあこの間は頑張ってたけどまだ LCQ で。でも LC 結局ノックアウトいけたっけ？ノックアウトはいけたのか？あノックアウト一応いけたのか。マジで LCQ で負けるのが早すぎて。
As much as this is G2, as much as this is the world champions, we have seen in recent weeks and months.
オキシゲン今年のインビ3位じゃだから。あそうそうそうオキシゲンね俺その観戦の時に言ってたんだけどアップデートがマジでないあのチーム。いやなんか例えばシージで競技シーンに臨みたいですどのチームを参考にしたらいいですかって言ったら俺オキシゲンあげると思う。それぐらいオキシゲンって綺麗だし連携めちゃめちゃうまいんだけどやってることがマジで俺には2年前のシージやってんのかって思えるぐらいこのマップのこのポイントはこう攻めればいいよねしかやってないのよ。今のシージ 100% それで勝てないからさ。もうその時代は2年ぐらい前に2年ぐらい前でもクソきついそれメタだったのよ。 でもオキシゲンまだそれやってて、そうなると結局ヌアーズのところで突破してもらうとか、なんか 1v2 でもヌアーズ2人見てんだけど無理なところ突破してもらうみたいなシチュエーションがどんどん出てきて、ヌアーズも全然勝てなくなってきちゃった。
This team has a lot of confidence. They're riding a confidence wave right now. Free is the maps because I have no idea how these teams have practiced, of course.
オキシゲンは前のフォーマットならメジャーの意味も確定してたがドリップあたりがふわふわ言ってたな。なんでだよ、去年は去年、今年は今年でフォーマット変わってるじゃんって話じゃない。何言ってんのそれ。意味がわかんねえんだよ。いや、オキシゲン調子悪いわけじゃないし、ゲハとかで頑張ってんだけど勝ちきれない。マジで勝ちきれない。勝つ方程式持ってないと思う。綺麗にシーズするけど勝つ方程式持ってない。来たぞナイトヘブンラボ。
I must say, I did like that jacket on you quite a lot. I think Fresh should gift you that jacket. Thank you very much.
SSG とオキシゲンは結構力の差あったけどね、確か。俺見てたと思うけど。いやでも俺は申し訳ないけど今のフォーマットもマジで NA 恩恵受けてると思ってる。フェアじゃないと思ってる。だってなぜかっていうと総当たり戦だから NA だけ。あの総当たり戦じゃない方式で各エリア均等にやるっていう話でやってたのにさ、はみたいな、おかしくないみたいな、なんで NA だけ総当たりなのみたいな、恩恵受けてるのどう考えて。さあこれエイムが温まってる ITB か一息試合が見れた G2 かの戦いで来たね。まずお薬切れちゃったのが弱い。おいおいやめなさいそれは。いやアルファセリスちょっと俺も嬉しいんだよな。あんなに頑張ってたからな、ブラジルとのプレーオフとかも。ドリップ延々腐う文句言ってるからさ、誰か相手してあげて。
As a rookie coming into it, even though it was well his first year, Yonka has been around here and there sometimes.
NA はでもまあ枠減らすのはやっぱ反対かな。まだね。来年見てていいと思うけど、まあやっぱちょっと韓国がきついな、どう考えても。いや D プラスとサンドボックスはマジで強いしいける部分はあるだろうと思うんだけど、レベル差がそれ以外のレベル差がマジでエグかった。だって公募だもんな韓国、そもそものスタートが3月のな。アザー先輩やっちまってください。そうだな。あとはもうちょっと関東の覚醒がないと G2 は倒せないかっていう気がするな。いやワイルドカード見たかったね。物語的にはワイルドカード行ってほしかったけどな。なぜかミラージュが勝って空気読まなかったんだよな。ルミノシティでもどうすんだろうね。俺ルミノシティ結構良かったと思うよ。結果出せなかったけどすごい若い選手取ってこっからやり直すんだ、やっていくんだって意気込み感じたから、あれ残してほしいけどな。4ヶ月あるからなここから。いや韓国はいやマジで D プラスとサンドボックスとそれ以外の差がえぐいのよ。マジでえぐい。こういう時に10倍強いか10倍ゴミなのかがカントわかる。大一番にマジで弱いカントだからな。ごめん下にバー出ちゃった。頼むよガチで頼むよ。いやもうこうなるとマジでちょっと ITB に物語るから応援したくなっちゃうな。
At least one of these teams, it will be the final game they play off the year. But will it be ITB or will it be G2?
G2 starting off on the defense, into the breach, starting off on the attack here. Into the breach had some real nice ideas yesterday when we saw them.
ワイルドが敗退したからエースズとクソ仲悪いモーグリが生き生きしててそうなんだ。クソ面白いな。サンドボックスはでも俺エンビテーラー外すって英断に出たのはマジで本当にいいことだと思った。さすがにエンビーのやり方ちょっと限界だなって感じだったからな。
to really provide a little bit of that info. Alamau.
SSR カントか NR カントのカントガチャってこと。今度一気に来たぞ。HP が見るよ。いやでも1キル持ってってハードブリッジングチャージ仕事できればこれまずいぞ。あれドキの位置これ終えてんのか。あまだ結構先なのかあれ。ドキがドキドキ。位置上がった。うわいい打ち込み。伏せてる伏せてる。それカント勝負に行くんだ。 HP など歓迎ない。頭に入れば同じです。さあおかわりのは。いやこれ囲いたいね。一人で行きたくないね。うわーああいう打ち持ってった。さすがドキ。そうなんだよ。ベンジャーのカバーの位置がちょっとずれてんだよねそれ。いやただ時間がない地下に対して時間なさを。これどうすんだろう。いやバーチューがマジでこれ心拍で情報取りまくってるな。あれ取ってねえぞ。出た定番のこの角の位置でのプラント。上取られてないそれ。上は見てんのか。そうだよね上取られてるよね。来たはず。おっ一人だ。こういうのだけ。あこれ印象分かってないか。
He's down, he certainly does now. Virtue, he might be down, but he's certainly not.
No, don't do it.
何を見てんだよ。
He was looking at him. Plenty of time to disable that diffuser.
Easy's trying to make him do it.
すごいな。完全にやりなさいって do it って言われてるぞ。そんなことあるんだ。
They're just trying to sweep in and clear those roamers. Pretty controlled. They take 1 point of the map. They're not looking to clear out those roamers from the very top floor, which is kind of what we see some teams would like to do. We've seen, I think, Jackal be played quite a few times in NihgtHeven. You've got the Jackal above, maybe with some soft destruction.
いや今のよくクラッチしたね。
Then you clear out the players inside of storage, cut them off in garage, and then you work your way into the site. Because 9 times out of 10, if defenders are playing in and around storage,
RGL はそういうシーンないからな。日本の選手マジ真面目よ。すごいちゃんと守ってくれてると思う。最近っていうかやっぱ RGL できてから。
But ITB never went for that. They were just looking to push straight across. They never really pressured the man in storage too much. You look what Doki was able to do. 2 kills. Just stood behind a box.
なんか MNM 戦もすげえチャットしてたよな。
And at that point, it's a good position for G2. You've wasted quite a bit of time. You know they're not going to have much utility left because you've taken away some flashbangs here and there. And it's easy enough for them just to sit on site. Sure, it was pretty close there at the end, but they still had the time on their side.
That time, and more importantly, they had Uno hit some.
Do it インジャ殺せ。
If it hadn't been for him, it would have gone very differently indeed, especially with Virtue already being downed.
いや今の惜しかったな。でもやっぱちょっと2回じゃないや1回の遊撃に構いすぎたね。
around the information that G2 had at their fingertips. So we're going to be bringing some of that information here again, mainly in the form of the pulse. No Valkyrie this time, however. Obviously feeling as though they can get away without that, and well, into the breach they're going to be attacking.
運の6年ぐらいミラー使ってる。まあポジション変わんないからな。
Yeah, pretty standard at the moment. In terms of the setup. Oh, Uno.
あざ来たね。しかも単独で潰してくれるからめちゃくちゃ強いよなこれ。まあドローンのサポートはあったのかね。
Got an easy pick. Azami being banned away does hinder, I think, the defense for this top floor just a little bit more. You don't have the same kind of layers that you can set up, and you just keep falling back, using the keeper barriers even to block up some of the reinforced walls that get opened up by the Selmas, for example.
SSG 戦の時のレクチャーなんかやったっけ。この間が面白かったね。太陽君が自爆した時に森さんになっちゃってるよっつって言ってたのクソおもろかったけど、ボイスチャット森さんになってるよっつって。
is incredibly strong. We've seen that a few times in NihgtHeven yesterday whenever it was being played by ITB in secret. It was a great showcase of it.
これでもウーの早めに落としてたらでかいよな。
It's almost pointless bringing the breach because the wall just gets immediately dealt with that key
ロスファン戦のアヤゲータの下打ち覚えてねえよ俺。
inside of this
そんな
game
ことやってたっ
instead.
け？
I'm going to see a little bit more of an old-fashioned
ベンジャーが
approach
でもさ
here.
この
Benja
LCQ
taking
復調してきてるよ
over
ね。
with Jonker.
この間マジでやばかったもんな。
Safely to the side. Alamao
ちょっとなんかスランプ入ってんじゃないかっていうぐらいやばかったもんな。
and switch over to the secondary, the SMG11, perfect for this sort of medium range engagement, but still into the breach, not really gaining any ground here. C4 ripped and ready as the drone comes out, but it's going to be dealt with quite quickly. You call that on the drone, Alamo. You can't be wasting util like that.
Oh, swing eliminates Kenny. Down goes the Ying. A big competitor off the board.
いやこれ横からの車線があるから詰め切れないよな。他がいけてないぞ。他どこだ？アレマオがちょっと強すぎるぞ。あらららららららら。アレマオこの壁一枚で勝ったよ。
A little bit reminiscent of some of the rounds that we've seen into the breach play already today, where it has just been very one-dimensional, and they've.
SSG 戦の時にレック選手がカフカかかっちゃってるよって言ってたのが忘れられないです。あれ別に煽りじゃないじゃん。それを事実言ってるだけじゃん。カフカ消えちゃってるよって言ってたよね。あれおもろかった。
We can see continue. We need that to be really nipped in the bud. 3 players dying at the top of Aqua. No, it's not really good enough, is it?
Just there's no bite. That was a play that ITB done yesterday against Secret, where they used the Ying really well. It was a bit of a minimalistic take. They weren't worried about going for the whole process of
BGM 配信は覚えてないです。何それ？あ、中断の時の話。
Headstrong in through Aqua, get the Yings rolled into the site.
バーチューもすごいよね。だってバーチュー結構いい年齢だもんな。
But they were lacking, I think, the nades from below. I'm surprised that they didn't really play a big part because they should have. You think about the position that Alamao was in the entire time. What's below him? Oh, soft destruction floor. So I don't know.
まあまあでもここ3本目じゃないやっぱ。今のはやっぱり個の強さが目立ったねっていう印象だったからさ。このサード拠点で組織的に当たられた時に G2 ちゃんとライン引けるかなって感じじゃない。ブラジルファンはね、ホームビーキがエグいんだよ、身内ビーキが。この間のバルラントでも話題になってたけど。だからまあインビは大変だろうと思うけどね、ブラジルチーム相手にするときは。
Where the Maverick has already removed the reinforcement, they can look to start getting this top floor cleared. We did have, Kendrew in the drone, but Mute Jammers might just slow this down.
ビブのウェイクアップあれもあったねそれ。そっからあれもがめちゃめちゃキル取り始めたんじゃなかったっけ？違ったっけ？強っ。うわー突き上げた。
However, the C4 from below from Virtue gets a kill back in favor of G2, takes down the buck. There's still a sledge though from Kenny, so it shouldn't be too much.
いやでも今のさ2回まで心拍取れてたのかな。
Now for ITB, you've got the first pick. You've still got at least one soft destruction available to you. All you need to do now is get players rotated around towards the windows. I'm looking at storage window. Particularly, you can clear out realistically, any strong angle that holds onto storage window can be cleared out from above with a verticality. Just simply clear out the players, jump in the window and go for a plant. That should be the option now. Uh-oh.
Unfortunate. Kenny not able to shoot that C4 out mid-air, and Jonker is going to pay the
いや立体的にカバーされてるね。全然組織的に当たれてねえじゃん。必勝のナイトヘイブンラボだったはずが全然うまくいってないぞ。シンプルに心拍で取られてニトロ撃破されてる。俺たちのアザーがいないとこっからまくれるイメージがね。
Jumps over the top rope, immediately hits the prone, finds himself a shot onto Virtue, but can't grab the second.
コーチお願いします。
Really doing a great job of controlling the pace so far.
From what we've seen on NihgtHeven Ollie, the meta really has been set to C4s. That's what we're seeing, a hefty amount of Valkyrie Impulse, doing a lot of damage. 4 C4s for G2, 2 C4 kills.
ここタイムアウトじゃない？
You've got a good ratio there of success rate with the C4s. ITB struggling a lot with just staying alive to even formulate any form of attack. For example, things look to be going pretty well, and then bang, a C4 just ruins the mood entirely.
いやこれなんかマップピックミス疑惑あるよ。
20 seconds without giving a pick away. They haven't really had a chance, I feel, to do a
コーチ想定内だ。
The first round,
それだったら
they
すげえ
nearly
けど
got beat on time, so they scrambled into the site. Second time, Alamo just didn't move his feet and shot them all as they tried to walk in through Aqua. And then the third time, as they're looking to start doing the
今フ
vertical
ァースト
action
取っ
against
たのに
the
やら
other,
れたもんな。
they really haven't had a good chance yet. G2 have just hit them left, right, and center, not giving them any room to breathe. And that's a great strat, I think, for G2.
ここまで来たら
If
攻
you look
撃
at
まで
how
温
ITB
存す
played
るの
against
か
Secret,
何
they
の
were
話
slow,
だ
they
よ。
were controlled. Secret allowed ITB to set up and do what they wanted. And ITB ruined them.
なんかまた木をてらった構成に見えるけどね。
I'm not giving them any room to work with. They're taking everything from them and giving nothing back.
I think that's the best way to really start to combat that. It is starting to become a little bit more apparent, just the sheer gulfing experience between these two rosters right now. G2 doing a great job of playing to their win conditions, which is C4's flexibility and information.
Look,
Again,
G2 can play against anyone, Ollie.
Yeah.
They can play against anyone in the world. They can play every style of Siege. And I think that's why they do well internationally, isn't it?
Yeah.
どうせ防衛ゴミだからと思って攻めたら案外強かった説。そんなわけねえだ
It's
ろ。
always a fun one, this a cat and mouse
防衛
chase.
がゴミになることってあんまないぞ。ぶっちゃけ。
It's a horrible room to try and stay alive in Meet, and I always think, because there's a good chance someone's going to come in through there. There's a couple of windows to worry about. Aza, he knows that something's not quite right.
いやー今の気づけるか、アザ。あ、ロジックもちゃんと入れたな。
Send out the logic bomb phone call. Get the feeling he's thinking about balling himself through the window, but
いやーベンジャー強。
Kanto should not be dying there. At least
まあもうここはしょうがないよね。でもカント失ったってことは突き下げができないんだよね。まあノアが言うからできないわけじゃないけど。
ITB looked as if they were kind of almost prepared for the
まあ
storage
カン
hold
ト
again.
こういうとこあるから
G2, if they were gonna go
な
for it, they were looking to take above and then
今
start
もうちょっと確率性高めてからピークするって判断はなかったのか
hit the
な。
site. G2 this time have just reverted away from that. They're going to set happy enough in the bomb site, use again the sheer vast numbers of C4s that they have. And then for them to then lose the buck, which is really important to have now if you know a team's playing more of a turtle strategy, it's a massive issue. All they have is free breaching charges. That's not enough.
We'll have to see where they choose to use those precious few breaching charges. It's not even like hatches are going to be very viable to be opened as well. You could choose to use the Selmas, but you're maybe going to want to try and use them elsewhere. Obviously, Buck with the hard breach gadget would have assisted that as well. Noah is going to find one back though, but Alamau immediately there with the trade.
あれも一回残ってた。
Not letting anything slip here, going back immediately.
まあそうだね。平面割れてないから現実使えちゃうよな。
Calling for this wall now to be opened. Noah can start to
いけるのか。伏せてるやついるぞ。
process needs to find the cave claw. Will do just exactly that.
わあドキが取った。
I like this position though. Tucked hard
ユーの魂のハイド。いやこれこの時間帯で絶対見ねえぞ。ああやられちゃったなその前に。え？よくさ打ち勝ちました。
End of the spectrum, G2 have won their
でも上取られてんだよ
engagement.
な。
Somehow Alamo ended up back upstairs again.
コー
And
チ
they'll give an easy cleanup. Don't really know what's happened there for ITB. Diffuser was a no man's land, it looked like. I don't know why Yonka doesn't have the diffuser.
バンプアップ選択のつもりで選んだらピックだった。出た。ファビアンの。ファビアンのピック。
He's putting his timing on the Stairmaster, hasn't he? Up and down those stairs.
I heard about you in the Stairmaster.
Oh dear, it wasn't a good time.
RTA 的には1-5で折り返して防衛連続しとかせようになります。RTA じゃねえじゃねえかよもうそれ。RTA70 だろうな。こっちカメラ向いてない喋ってないけど、なんかめちゃくちゃデータ見て喋ってんだ。
Look, I always feel for coaches. Whenever things go well, they reap the
なんか
rewards.
狙いがハマってないね。
Whenever things go bad, players get the blame. Do you ever really hear somebody going after the coach's throat? I know it's like that in regular sports, which is a bit of a concern I would have. People give all the coaches all the praise. Whenever things go bad,
なんか
people let it
意図
slide.
的に取ったはずなの
That's
に
just a
ね。
demo rant. That's a demo topic for another day. It's just something I open up. But as good as what he is, I don't think he's going to really help them much in this circumstance because the players seem out of it. They look so scared. So they don't want to... It looks as if they don't even want to be here. It's 4-0 for your major spot. And
あと2本は取らないと厳しくなったぞ、これ。
The amount of times, Ollie, where we sat here this weekend and
モ
it's
ン
just
ター
been
ニとか
just
使
an
わないんだ
onslaught.
ね。
Teams going massively ahead. In the first map specifically, second map's a little bit closer, but first map, I don't know, there's always one fast team and one slow team.
Yeah, G2 have been... It feels as though G2 have been pretty desperate to play NihgtHeven as well with the way their
い
bands
や、
have
勝
gone
てる可能
throughout
性
the
全然あると
stage.
思うんだけど
And
な。
it's nice to see them now getting a chance to really show us what they've got on it.
わあ、これ全然見えないね。
Easy making sure that we get full value out of that. That is now no longer a good Valkyrie cam for anyone inside
Well
the
done,
comp.
Easy. You've ruined G2's hold. Congratulations.
Uno's probably a little bit annoyed at that when he rewatches the VOD. He'll probably send you a sharply worded DM on Twitter. But
いやでもここに来てゴンが消えてきたのがいいよね。
Jokes aside, into the breach. You need to wake up. You've got to get into the fixture. This is your map choice. You were bold enough to bring G2 to NihgtHeven. You cannot let these attacks slip like this. It's very good. It's going to be very difficult from here on out, especially as you mentioned, Demo, with Sky coming up.
It's a good map for G2. They understand the map very, very well. Obviously, Fresh has said that he feels that ITB have hid that away for the right moment. But if you're going into Skyscraper demoralized to All Kingdom Come, it's not going to help you at all, no matter how well you prepared. This is really where the mental fortitude needs to set in for ITB. And
わあ、ドキずっと狙ってたんだ。なんでハードブリッジされてるのに引かないんだろうと。アザーがめちゃめちゃ止められてるね。
Would you notice him right now?
ナギさん、おばんです。
On the kill feed whenever Doki's killed him, and that's really it.
Yeah, 1 and 5 from your
いやなんか接戦にならねえぞ。なぜ取ったってまたなぜ取ったパターン来てるぞこれ。まあでも領事館よりは組み立てられてるな。あの伝説の領事館よりは。何もしてないわけじゃない。攻めどころをアプローチはできてる。いやこれでもこの人数でいくんだ。
At least they're going for a slightly different approach here and now. There isn't as much focus on those fish stairs. Instead, it's a little bit more inside the garage.
How are they letting him just impact trick it? That should not be happening. Here's on the garage door. He's there's no shot. Doki gets away. Swinging in through garage, picks off 2 of them. How? It just sums up ITB. The kills aren't there.
もうそれ抜かれたら無理だよ。作戦破綻してるもん。
Doki's got as many kills as what ITB do in total. It's like Koi versus Wylde again. One team's at the races, the other's sitting at home with their feet up.
Certainly feels that way. Kanto going to try and make something happen here, but he's probably better off just sitting on the roof and using these 30 seconds as a little bit of an extension to the previous timeout for the team to have a discussion. He's going to pick one over onto Alamau, but that's information now gained. Another onto Uno.
めちゃめちゃ舐め腐ってる Uno.
He said he could think of 5 players on G2 that would try and collect the final kill when they're in an advantage. And so far, we've seen 2 of them. Benja getting away with it there. He did get downed in the process. That's why we're going to see the kill cam from Doki.
いやなんかさ、なんで取ったんだろうね。あそこでインパクトグレネードって結構定説になってると思うんだけどな。上等作戦になってると思う。
Just an absolute disaster class from all chords right now for ITB.
カントこのままウルト貯めるんや別ゲームになってます。
It's not. Sure, I think G2 have adapted pretty well to what ITB have wanted to go for.
ちょっと何がやりたいか分かりづらいな。
Crucial for G2 and that's kind of been their game plan.
MO レイさんフォローありがとうございます。
It feels off, doesn't it?
リザグラさんこんばんいらっしゃい。
How's he allowed to do this? I mean, the double impact trick from Doki should not be happening.
いやこれもう下のサッチャーが抜かれた時点で勝利ありよ。だってあのロックでね乗り出さないようにしてるのにあそこ抜かれたら終わりだよ。でもブラックミラーだよな。
If he tries that again, he'll get shot in the head. Nobody was there. Impact trick goes in.
逆になんかタイミング合ってなくねみたいな。
Is so surreal. Should not be happening.
Doki definitely feeling himself this game. 9-2 at the moment.
that's just okay. It's either
全然キル拾えないね。
you know, consistently inconsistent is always how I sum up Doki, but I'd still rather have him than not have him.
It just pops up and has a life game every now and then when it matters the
Just
most for GT.
for the life game, that's it. Just for that hope. Oh.
Final chance for Into the Breach to pick anything up out of this attacking side. They really can't afford to leave this empty-handed. They need to come away with at least a round. And even that, at this point, feels as though it might not be enough.
めっちゃウーノ見てる。
Again, this pulse has been a staple operator pick from G2, regardless of who's been playing it. It is assisting right now.
デジャブやな、この
How
攻
many people
防
are。stacking up outside of the breach. Look at Doki's position. Might be looking to try and do something about it.
これウーノやらない方がいいよね。でもあれだね、G2 って結構やっぱなんかパルス使うの好きだね。タクティクス的に。銀行の地下から右上がり、パルスとソリスでリテイクするのも G2 の発明だったもん。
Manning down the bomb site. Oh, an aid just touches him, but has to move away.
アベンジャー1きついね、それ。
Henry is in below. Equally as much as we talk about the C4s can get the kills from below, so can the nades.
And we haven't really seen that at all. Into the breach were
いや、お互いに今死認したな。
against Secret yesterday, particularly vertically. We haven't seen those used to great effect yet here today. We've often had at least 2 sets of nades being brought.
多いかば。
Pick one up onto Benja. Benja don't get the trade
ああ、ドローンが入ってるオフィス側に
frag there.
収納側か。
I think it was Azza that was maybe
あ、
just
管理
wandering
側
up
か。
the stairs, completely looking the wrong direction. Virtue now getting himself into an engagement.
いやー、これフラグないときついよな。
Continues to be just that player as he takes Kendrew down and retakes that advantage.
中には入れたのか。
Look how disjointed ITB are. They're everywhere.
そうだね。その位置どかせないときついね。バーチューの位置落としたいね。
Tries to move in, will pre-fire. Virtue left out in the cold. Nobody from his side is helping him. But as long as there's still this pulse
ニ
upstairs,
トロ
they're
は
gonna
2
know
つ残ってん
exactly
だ。
where ITB are going to plant. Alamau goes for the C4, has constant information. Noah shoots the C4 though. That is huge to stay
いや、
alive.
これは
As long
いい
as
プラント
Noah's
だぞ。
upstairs, but Uno can't really stop the plant going down. He did eventually get Noah. Yonka has finished him off as he dropped into the site. Alamau in the 1 versus 2. I think he's had a stellar weekend. He hasn't really
いや、これは
put wrong so far.
4個の位置が強い。
This one happened.
だよ
No,
ね。
Yonka close.
このくぼみ強いからな。よくこっちでプラントできたね。なんか今まで一番いい組み立てだったね。
Welcome into the breach. You left it till your last round of attack to put any number up there. Will that be enough? Is the question. You know what, Demo? It's really funny what
ここまで
happens
来
when
ると
they
ITB が新マップピックできたら
they don't
捨てる
rush on
縛りしてる
in. They
説。
lost an opening, but they got the frag back.
昨日マジで危なかったもんな。いや、これ ITB いけるじゃんっつって。めちゃくちゃ盛り上がっててシークレット戦。よーしよし、これで必勝の領事館だろセカンドマップって言ったらボロ負けで。しかも俺が今シーズン一番最低の試合って名付けたぐらいパフォーマンス悪くて。いや、マジで何もできてなかったのよ。ただ建物に入りましたぐらいだったからさ。
Just him staying alive for so long means that Uno cannot safely just kind of tunnel vision into using the cardiac sensor to find out where the diffuser's going down. Because there's always that risk of your repulse. You know, if you have that scanner out using the gadget, you don't have a gun in your hand. So you're very easy just to somebody to rush you down and get that kill, similar to what I think you
これは変なマップを取ると ITB 勝つっていうジンクスを俺は唱えたい。さっきのワイルド戦はマジでスムーズに行き過ぎた。最終的に勝つ自信あるから練習してる。メジャーに向けて。そんなつわもののチームだったら俺マジでファンクラブ今すぐ課金するわ。
Where G2 aren't necessarily going to have things as easy as they did on the defense, where they can just sort of set up their own mini games. They've now got something to work with, and Into the Breach aren't going to make it too easy.
まあでも 5-1 での折り返しだったらどう考えても G2 余裕あるよな。よっぽど攻撃の組み立て下手だとしても2本は取れるんじゃないってなるよな。いや IT すんなり割れたんだけどこれどうすんの。これ2階だよね。土器がもう入ってんだけど倉庫2階。
could speak to G2's level
だよね。
at this moment in time. It's going to be Doki to pick up the opener, but again, immediately.
さすがに 5-1 だったから言ったな、今時。
Noah, he's someone that really quietly gets the job done, isn't he, Demo?
これでもね、ケンドリュー死んだからさ、
You need consistent players just keep their head down and
ブラックアイ見えてんだよね。
almost
いや朝おかしいって。いや、今取ったべベンジャーと思ったのに。
Benja's head straight off his shoulders. You know, looking for the jump in and towards Gary. Cheese an opportunity. That drone hole. All people forget about that drone hole. I've died to that a few times. I'll be honest,
今だっ
I
て
can't
下
think
から
about
撃
it
たれ
more
た
than
から
once,
反
but
応したよね。
it's one you don't really think of too much.
There are a couple of drone holes that are like that, or at least for me, but especially with some of the hard-hitting weapons now, you don't need to put too many shots through a drone hole until you've done a good portion of damage or even found yourself a kill. And if someone's already low, then it's almost GG's. So G2 stalling out now at the moment. They've got a lot of players that have been left unchecked. Somebody like Kanto, for example, that is on a decent enough roam downstairs. There is a bit of information available for G2. We can see them jumping into Rosero drones now and still trying to gather. We got Doki on a flank cam as well. Just flicking to make sure that no one is going to be on that flank. It's Kanto to watch now. There to take him out. Must have been a drone.
これ司令センターの階段取れたからこう囲めるぞ。おー、4個早く見たねそれ。あ、ウノ取った。
And Virtue both winning engagements. Noah in the 1v2, 1 to his left, 1 to his right. He gets the down.
取り切っちゃった。
Virtue has the trade. I'm in disbelief. I can't believe ITB have let that one slip. You know, Ollie, G2, they didn't really have a lot to play off. They just jumped in and just took their ones.
I think this is the thing with
なんか
G2.
決まった感出てきたな。
What did they have realistically there? They had Doki on a flank drone calling out Kanto. Alamar was out there on the prowl waiting to see if he could clean him up. And then you've got a beautiful pinch to close it out. There really is no better teamwork at the moment inside of the qualifiers that we've seen this weekend. I think that everybody has everybody's back on G2 at the moment, and it's just going to show.
いやでもやっぱ正面の打ち合いが強いね。
It's just, I mean, it's disappointing. You think for the grand final, this is where the fireworks should be exploding, but it does feel a little bit like men versus boys. It does feel like that. I think G2, all of them have just been stellar. I mean, I'll be honest, this weekend, G2's gave me the same vibes they did whenever they went on to win SI, where every single one of them played their part and played it well.
今何が 100% だった俺見逃しちゃった。一緒に消えちゃったからさ。
I think the problem with that is, whilst you might have had that feeling, that's in a last chance qualifier scenario. That isn't against the best teams in the world.
まあこれは賭けに負けた感があるな ITB が。
And that's all that matters for G2 right now. You know, going to the major, that's a problem down the line in a month's time. They focus on here and now.
ITB も今高くなかった。でも ITB そんな嘘でしょ。
Getting to SI is crucial. Yes, the major is nice, but SI is the big thing for this team. That is it. As
来週の LCQ は決勝だけ BO3 ですね。その前は BO1 です。
Well, it is a 99% chance, even if they lose this grand final, that they will make it, and a 100% chance if they win. We did just have the stat pop up on screen, so we can keep an eye on that throughout. I'm not sure what the 99% chance
ITB はメジャー ITB 約
based on if they
6%。
lose
な
the
るほど。
final, there'll be some sort of tie-break condition there, or some sort of
GK win the
points or
major, something like that maybe. I don't know.
It'll be something unusual, but
Yeah.
we'll worry about that if we have to. Instead,
あらららららららら。
2 kills on the entry here.
Ow.
武器が暴れ散らかしてる
He's basically under a logic bomb phone call and a bit of drone work and picked up 2. That is terrible. Into the breach, 3 versus 5. There's 2 minutes on the clock, Demo.
Yeah, and you've got one player off site. Duncan's done well to get a C4 kill, and so is
お、
Kendrew.
粘ってる粘ってる。
G2 maybe taking the foot off the pedal here. Another
もうで
C4
も
gets tossed.
地下関係ねえ
I
な
don't。expect that one though. See if you can find the player inside a pillar. Looks as if
あ、
Alamo has
G2
found his
勝ったら
kill.
確定、負けたら 99% な
Spoiler
ん
here.
だ。
He's on the flank upstairs, but does leave his teammate in quite the precarious predicament. Kendrew fighting for his life, but he has a diffuser, Ollie. That is a massive for Kendrew.
まあどっちにしろほぼ確ってこ
Screaming
と
that
で
he's
し
got
ょ
the。diffuser now and seeing if Azza can try and get to him to assist. Azza instead just looking to try and waste a bit of time on the site, but there's
Kenny's
so
gonna help
much
him.
of it to burn through. Everybody in a 1 versus 1 here. Azza fighting his own 1v1. Kendrew fighting his own. Virtue trying to make something happen. He's going to send out the Ram gadget there just to cause a little bit of distraction, maybe make a line of sight. Alamao going to try and turn his attention toward getting that diffuser and recovering it. He might just be left to do so.
Azaが取ってくれた。
Going to find one onto Virtue, just the same way that Into the Breach split up. We saw the players from G2 split up. Alamao, he's recovered the diffuser.
あれも今インスモで自分がどこ走ってるか分からなかっただろう。
And he's got an important engagement to win here against Azza. He's got a bit of information. A yellow ping is going to come out there just on the other side of that soft wall, but Azza's patience is perfect. Waits for Kendrew to drop, waits for the pinch, and is able to clean up that final kill.
Azza just playing for his life, wasn't he? Tried to stay alive with Animus as long as he could, and even wins the engagement. But Kendrew, the highlight, stopping that diffuser was everything for ITB. It made G2 have to scramble.
同ポイントのファルコンズもほぼ確にはならないんじゃない？なぜかっていうと追い越される候補が残ってる相対的なもんでしょ多分。
And they're not out yet, but we need to see 4 more rounds in a row. I just don't know how long they can keep this going. I mean, I say it's only 1 round, but that's really where we're at. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, G2, I think maybe let it slip a little bit. You commented there, Doki walked in, picked up 2.
まあでもファルコンズも可能性高いと思うけど。
Alright, not immediately. 15 seconds later, traded back. At that point, I think that G2 could have either taken a back seat and realized what they had and set up for a little bit more of a site-based execute, or continued to hunt those roamers. It didn't seem like they did either, really. So maybe a lesson to be learned there, but G2 have a decent round buffer here. But Into the Breach, a momentum-based team, and we know what can happen when they start chaining a couple of rounds together. So equally, you've got to be cautious of that. You might have a 4-round buffer here, G2, but you don't really want to let it get to that. You want to try and get this one over the line as quickly as possible.
It's just very similar to that M&M game that G2 played, where you know they're going to cheese 1 round at least, aren't they? There's going to be 1 round where you know it's going to be, you can never do that push again, but that's all G2 need is just 1 push that'll work. You don't have to play it in history your life again, but as long as it works, it works. Don't think they're going for anything too funky right now, just based on their operator choice.
なんか魔法陣みたいなクレームを置いてるの。
Getting these walls open again, the impact tricks will be coming in force. You got 4 of them for ITB, also 3 C4s.
まあ ITB、まあ組織だって当たれてないよね。まあでもそもそも正面の 1v1 でほぼ負けてるから、やっぱアザーと関東のところで勝たないと無理じゃないかな。絶対勝負どころってできるし、どうしても 1v1 で戦わないといけないっていうところがラウンドの何箇所かで絶対発生するから。あれぬるっと入ってきたぞ。
Doki is going to try and join him here, but he's got a tricky angle to challenge onto on the mirror window. Does have a nade in pocket, so can look to try and make use of it. Will send it out there, and he's going to find the opener once again over onto Kendrew. That is going to be the catalyst for this round. He can now look to try and push up, disable that mirror window, get a couple points of damage. Jonker, he's made the flank of his life. He's got himself up those fish stairs. Virtue, well, he was left all alone inside of the breach.
ちょっと硬さ取れてきたんじゃない？
Is starting to build over in Sheffield.
Oh, I see a couple of eyes light up now. They could maybe be in here. Could try. Get the dog whistle, see if you can hear that. I'll test it. See how good the hearing is. Now, this is what I was waiting for. Look at the G2 lineup. Lack of hard breach, so straight away you're thinking, right, they're going for a rush. And you also bring in the Ying. They haven't shown this shit in their attack.
Oh, they are bringing the Ying. It was Alamao, and now it's been switched. They've gone. They have got the hard breach now.
They've got the hard breach now.
But they've also still got the Ying.
I wonder how they're going to use the Ying. If I'm G2, I think you use the Ying to clear away the top floor mirrors. I think that's the best way to utilize her in this scenario. You're not really going to be dealing with mirror windows in and around the mid floor. Mirror windows are going to be used to try and hold that top floor as best as they can for ITB. You hold top floor, you have all the denial for anyone trying to plant in the bomb site. So look at all that vertical holes being opened up. That's where the majority of players will be stationed. That's what G2 want to go for. I mean, look at Uno.
お、出た必殺のサカラペ。このサカラペ強いよな。あ、地下管理も来ましたね。
On storage window, it does scare me. I'm not gonna lie.
early days into the round. We'll have to see where he ends up here. He is now joined by Alamau, so they are certainly focusing in and around. We're going to get the wall open there into warehouse. Got to do a little bit of work from the roof as well. I think the biggest problem with this is that Into the Breach do look a little bit unaware of what exactly is going on. We've got a couple of can openers used there to open up the breach.
ここマジで弱えからな。
Benja.
ピンめちゃくちゃ立ってんだけど、どういうこと？
Looking to work off the back of this information, trying to get a nade sent out there. Not going to be successful initially, and the smoke is going to do him a favor there, though. We'll find some good damage onto Jonker.
入った。
As we hear the Dokkaebi call come through,
耐えれんかった。
Jonker loses the most
うわ、強っ。
engagement. 2 kills for Alamau really opens things up.
いや、下から抜いた。強すぎ。
Kanto, you got it all to do. G2, they've got the plan down now, and they are just going to get themselves out of the building and look to hold this in a post.
これだよな、このポイントは。仕上げてきてますね。まあ、これはノーチャンスだな。
Because Nighthaven, all G2, it was a very strong start. A little bit slow from G2 in the middle, but they come out on top in the end. G2 very well deserved. I love the way that they were using the information in unison with the nades. Yonka couldn't stay on the site to deny them jumping in the window.
まあこれはなんでナイトヘイブンラボ取ったのか問題出てるな。またしても ITB の悪い癖出たよ。マップ版失敗。
I did have something to say about that. Didn't seem too pleased.
おお、ベンジャーのヌック再びだね。ドキ止めないとだな。
about the lack of a Valkyrie in their own defensive set.
あそこでどうやって当たるかだな。
They're going to be looking at attacking.
この間に話ができてるかどうか。優秀コーチが。
Lots and lots of denial. We've got a bandit and we've got a Cade. Really trying to limit.
相変わらず広がってこうやって当たっていくもんな。
into the site and the building. No EMPs to deal with said electrification. Instead, it's the old-fashioned way. Seeing a good bit of teamwork, some drones come through, and nades from below.
G2 looking to see if they can get this information passed around. There's so many yellow pings, they don't know where to look. First one misses though. Dokkaebi doesn't get the opportunity to.
いや、ポジション難しいけどね。
for his stats, but he is right below him. Another nade.
わざかな。
Benja was looking for it, but
ああ、下から仕留めたね。
he walked over the vertical hole made by the nade.
Not ideal from Azza there. A little bit of a lapse in.
割れないんだよね。
G2 still struggling to
エレクトロクロ効いてるっていうか、まあ自分たちでサッチャーバンしちゃったからな。
effectively use this breach utility though. You know he's gonna discover the location of Yonka.
グループステージシークレットに4-7で負けてんだ。
Too concerned about that at the moment. He can still hang around inside a drum. Doki and Benja now both below.
They've placed it inside a drum, the Kai Claw, so what goes over to the other wall, so you cannot shoot it from barbecue. And to eliminate that Kai Claw, you need to take drum, which is a big task in itself. This is what I wanted to see from ITB.
ここで一回構えに来るのは結構えぐいよな。
Limit the options of G2, and then they have to go for these individual plays.
嘘でしょ？
There can be missteps for G2. This is where they can slip up. I like this flank from Kanto. A great shot onto the head of Benja. And that just causes more issues. G2 might be a little bit rattled.
いや、そうだね、ここ引きたいね。だって2回の逆エリア取ってきたいこと分かってるもんな。ん？これどうすんの G2？ あれもどこにいるの？戦術核の大沢さんどこにいるんですか？ラペリングしてんのかこれ。
He knows all he needs to do is bide his time. He takes Virtue out there as he tries to rotate in. Alamau.
あれもどっから入ったのそれ？やっぱラピンか。いや、これプラントいけなくなったな。
Still in a position to try and pick some up. Alamau, he's looking pretty nasty here though. He's found himself two great kills.
ニトロは1個残ってるけどだな。
We mentioned him. Still alive, does have a C4, isn't really in position to use it. He's going to have to aggressively push up now. Oh no, he's fluffed it. He threw it and it hit the side of the door. That's unforgivable. Uno, he takes Yonka out and Kanto's now going to touch.
おい、決めきるね。いや、まあニトロがあったとてなんだよね今の。どの道エリア広げないと無理だったからな。
I just don't know how they've been able to do that. The final 30 seconds just screamed ITB.
猛者でカラオケラップたまにやってたよね。どっかのチームがたまに見ることあるけど、どっちかというとやっぱり外バルコニーから入れて、祭壇バルコニー側から入れてっていうのが主流だけどな。
My head's blown. If that's, you know, kind of more to come of that, then I don't know if I want that. I really don't. I don't want it to be another quick one.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a real tilter from Into the Breach because, as you mentioned,
いやでも今の取りたかったね。人数優位作ったから。
Right at the start of that round, they had brought the correct operators, they'd utilized the utility in the correct way.
なんか関東の立ち回りちょっとエイム怖かったけど、よかったと思うけどね。フラット。あのタイミングで一回構われると、このタイミングで来るんだにはなるよな。
I was very surprised, I'll be honest with you, to see Kanto rotate up the bedroom stairs.
I don't know why he's not going below.
I don't know why he wouldn't go below. I feel like
SSR カント来るか。
below there. Doki was still there with Benja. Doki got dealt with at some point in the round. I forget when now. But I feel like Kanto just needed to try and hold his nerve and play for the plant denial with the C4 because that's really what it came down to.
I forget who it is, and they're lucky I forget who it was. Whoever was with Kanto in the 2v2, I have to question what he was doing. Again, we can only watch so much, but whoever that was, I think, has to take some of the blame. Why is he not doubling up with Kanto? You know there's hardly any time. You know they're in karaoke. That's where they have to plant. Why are they not just double pushing that?
Yeah, I think you could go around in circles really with some of the mistakes that were made in the
ちょっとラウンド取ってあれだね。
and a lot of it just comes back to
離されないようにしたいね ITB は。ああまたドキだ。
Pressure isn't going to stop after round number 1 though. Doki is going to be here to apply it again, and Benja picks up a freebie. It looks like he's not done. He knows that there's one inside a goal, but he's going to get torn through.
ああこれ階段からの車線でしょ。アザあれ見えんだよね。
He's going to do him there. Noah now going to try and join into the party.
今なんで前出たこれ。
Oh, they've just ripped them.
今なんでノア当たりに行ったんだろう。なんかチーム全体前に行くっていう方針だったよな今。
They've tried to take the fight to G2. No, G2 almost felt like defenders.
惜しい。
Aspect Ollie where the defenders are running after.
なんで今前出たんだろ
う。Like what's going on? G2 didn't even attack the site.
The site was the other side of the map. We were defending karaoke and T again there. That's certainly what it felt like.
あれこれ盛り上がらないグランドファイナル展開来たこれ。みんなの眠気を誘う。ASMR グランドファイナル来てるこれ。今なんで前出たんだろう。俺のは別に一回ライン下げて組み直してもよかったと思うんだけどな。下がれなかったのかな。テラスの車線入ってたから。
I love Mao, you banned your Valkyrie. Maybe G2 weren't expecting the Valkyrie ban. Maybe they were expecting ITB to bring that to the party. But I think if you actually look at NihgtHeven, the way even G2 were utilizing the Valkyrie.
今んとこそこまで珍しいことはやってないけどね、G2。まあドキの差し込み方やっぱうまいなと思うけど。そこもでもナイトヘイブンラブでしこたま体感したから。いやドキ仕掛けてくるでしょう。分かったんじゃないかなと思うんだけど。シャドウポイント。
I think Into the Breach would rather have more attacker bans here and just force everyone to play recruit for G2.
I don't know, G2 are a very flexible side. Very, like, I always think they're the most flexible side. It will maybe bar Wylde because they'll bring anything and everything. But I think G2, the way that they can all play the different operators is, you know, a credit to them. I mean, look at the lineup. A lot of changes here. You know, we're seeing Azofia get brought in. Grim's there. Benj on the Twitch now. Only constant Zuno, really.
まあこれは壊せないね。
No, Benja misses out on the bulletproof. Needs to be quicker on that. Would have been a good pick to get. Locks down the eyes towards that restaurant.
赤保留さっきから外しまくってるの辛いって赤保留ってね。
Pretty standard as it goes. Ollie opened up in towards Geisha. Vertical control is.
祝日なのに夜更かしさせてくれないとか優しすぎる。確かに。
Out of the kitchen, out of barbecue, into your different crossfires you can set up, and some of the longer angles, even some of the windows outside that can lock down in towards the bar area. Bathroom's another one. ITB not looking to give Geisha up too easily to them. Still a few players scattered around here and there, but in goes the Bees. They can spot one, but just standing in the middle of the room goes Noah. Huge play from Noah, completely
huge play 言ってるで。いやでもここ生き残らないと人数分持ってかれるぞ。その広がりは偉い。
Where's the info for G2? Surely they know that Noah is stood inside.
そうなのよ。簡単にそうだね。ゲーシャ取らせちゃうとポイントこの下だからな。いやーあれ重いねブラックミラー。うの強っ。まあでもよく削ったよね。いやーこれアーマーパネルも重っ。
Might get an angle here. You can find the
oh,
Benja. That one's gonna hurt if you can, Drew. Shot in the foot to level up the man count here.
時間あるぞ。
Piece, but Uno, pretty low HP.
This is a close one. ITB. They still have that bulletproof. Remember I mentioned before that Benja didn't eliminate with a Twitch. Speaking of Twitch gets eliminated. Yonka.
これは情報取りきれなかったね。ほっと一息。
It's not going to be a full sweep, Ollie. We were fearful of that. ITB get their first round, and it's a first round that came in not too late into the game.
いやあそこでもまあそうだよね。でも1は限定できたよな。ウーノ側とドローンで多分もう芸者いないぞってなったらミラ裏にいるのはほぼ角だったらもうあそこしかポジションないもん。
They should know where this Cade Claw is because they've suffered to it once before. Ideally, they don't suffer to it again. So I'm hoping that getting into Geisha is going to be a little bit more of a straightforward process. And I'm also hoping on into the Breaches side that they don't just let Alam out, get himself into karaoke, pick up 2 kills and get a plant down. So we'll see how the round develops from here. Virtue is in fact going to be making a little bit of a 6-pick. If you see a Ying demo, usually it
いいミラだったよね。アーマーパネルもセットにしてるのは結構ミソなんだよなあれな。
That Ying now being locked in. Bruno has actually gone over onto the ace for this round as well, so
yeah,
he definitely should be able to open up the
でもノアみたいなさっきみたいなビッグプレイかまさないとラウンド取れないっていう状況になってるからちょっときついよね正直。
Feels as though that G2 might just trying to go pretty direct into the site. Well, they're going to have to now as they've lost the hard breacher. Uno's been picked off. He was running through the window, just gets shot through it. As easy as that. That's siege in a nutshell. Things like that do happen. So this now limits G2 to really just the black stairs and that's it.
このラウンド絶対取りてえな。だってゲーシャもう割れねえもん。バーチのカンデラだけが怖えな。そう、再現性はない。
Is this where G2 are going to try and revert into getting nades kills from below to try and square it up in the man advantage? In goes the Candela from Virtue, and that has been very poorly timed. It's been caught there by the on my disc. He now will try and push in against the shotgun. Somehow wins that. I don't know how though. He's barely missed the
いや、ドキの入り込みよ。
That's huge from Doki, and it's almost beneficial at this point that there isn't a rotation into karaoke.
ウーバーでラーメンと同罪この時間に配ってるとこ結構神だぞ。でも俺セブンイレブンで実は天津飯買ってんだよ。
Doki can start to gather his own information. We got Alam out outside on the rappel. He's just going to be waiting for the right moment to try and swing on in. Benja still with a nade in pocket. Benja is going to be below as well. He's got an important one to win here against Kanto. Is he going to manage it?
いやー勝てねえか。
Doki, second kill on the round. Azza got a bit of verticals to play with here, but the nade coming up from Benja and the Candela's coming in. He needs to turn his attention to sight.
Azza misses the chance on eliminating Benja, and it just feels like a matter of time for G2 get their grubby mitts into the site. Yonka has found that lone player. Benji goes down and will rotate below as a C4, but with no real information to play off. It will be planted now into the post plant. ITB need to retake a C4. Misses now as they're swinging in towards Drum. He knows there's one player. There's a yellow ping. They have information from a bulletproof. Azar just go for the pre-fire. Doki has no idea and will suffer the blow. One more player in the site for G2 that Azar has to deal with. He's full blind. He doesn't know what's happening. Getting hit from every left which way. But no, Alamao gives himself up. And now 1 versus 1. Virtue is not on the healthiest amount of HP, but that's a great reposition for Virtue. Knowing that the player's gonna come from Drum, rotates into Geisha, and an easy shot when Azar isn't looking. Phenomenal work from G2. But the player I found most impressive out of all of that, Doki using the Gemini clone to go below, to drone for Benja, knowing that the Solus is going to be the only thing to cause an upset for G2. I love that play.
Again, it comes back to the thing that we've commented most about this G2 roster, and that is phenomenal level of teamwork, and that ability from Doki.
あと2本取らないともう無理だっていう判断だな、これ多分。
That karaoke wall was left soft, or at least left intact, and that he could actually occupy that space now.
いやでも巧妙は見えてないぞ。
He's not going to suffer. He's got Cross being held by Virtue, and for Virtue there to be able to swing and pick up that final kill. Again, great teamwork. A good effort from Azar. We live in a game of one-shot headshots. All he's got to do is land one bullet onto Virtue there.
選手の口元があんま見えてないんだけど、選手は喋ってんのかこれ。ケンドリとかあんま喋んないよね。昔めっちゃ喋ってた印象あるんだよな。ありがとうございます。皆さんも見ていただきありがとうございました。今日でも3マップしか積極的にトラブルでやんなかったからさ。
Going to feel a little bit hard done to there. They are going to take their tactical time out there at round number, well, the end of round number 4, at the start of round number 5, and just see if they can stabilize.
ここからちょっと息吹き返してほしいよな。なんか可能性が見えねえ。銀行行ったらワンチャンあると思うんだけどな。
ITB just threw away. Challenged G2 on the other side of the map. Didn't really see any site play whatsoever. I feel for ITB, leaving the Ying up with Skyscraper against G2 was a big bold fight. And I really don't know if it was the one. I'm even more shocked that the Warden isn't being picked up.
You almost forget about the Warden, don't you? We've seen it banned once today, and it's just almost out of my mind.
Like, finally we're getting it, but it just feels too late. You know, it just, why was this not being brought in way earlier against the Ying? Oh dear.
いや
Oh dear, Benja.
Disrespect from this man.
Yeah. Just gone 60 now here.
どういう方針なんだろうね、今の。スポーンキルにあったのかな。いやなんか俺よく言ってんだけどさ、なんかメリットが大きくないじゃん、今の仕掛けて流れ的にも。例えばさ、やるんだったらもうみんなでやりきろうぜみたいな。
I don't know with the way that these rounds are currently going. I'm not sure how much it's really going to matter. Look at him go.
いや、それ勝ち切るんだ。
Throws the nade, opens up the line of sight, and Azar.
これ厳しいな。
Shot to bits. Doki will be 1 HP for his trouble, but damage done. 2 kills and no response.
It's not as if anyone's going to press on the Doki. ITB just look out.
こんなにワイルド戦いい試合したのに何もできてないね。
But he still has an aid he can utilize. As I think it did get sent out there. Yeah, it has. He's missing all of them now. There goes another. ITB. No site action whatsoever. All of them just dying away from the bomb site. Look, there's another one. Yes, yeah, it's... The word chopped comes to mind.
Yeah, again, you know, it's the same as last time, isn't it? It doesn't matter where the site is because it isn't being fought over. We're fighting on the other side of the map. Yonka's unfortunate there not to hit headshot. It did look quite close. He already had 1 player down, but we can't keep feigning excitement over these clutches that could be. You know, it is G2 performing a masterclass right now. 4 rounds to 1, final round of the
ただなんか俺は結構この戦い方ってリスク高いなと思うの。やっぱ土器のところ止められるときっかけ作れなくなるからセカンドプランまで意外に時間かかるんだよね。
Feels very deflating, doesn't it? Feels very sad that this
is
kind of how it's ended up.
ドキ待ちだったりベンジャ待ちだったりみたいなのがあるかなと思ってる部分があって。
It's just the consistency, Ollie. All of them are just playing well. It's the exact same that happened to them on
だから
NihgtHeven.
対策は取りやすかったはずなんだけどね、そこをつけてない感じがすごいする。さっきはやっぱドキに負けてんじゃんね。
Then they're either against really strong
分かりやすいんだよ、ストロングポイント。全然弱いって言ってるわけじゃなくて、ストロングポイント分かりやすいよねって話。
Whenever all of them are playing well, no one needs to be head and shoulders above the rest. You know, 5 players doing their job wins you games. You don't have to play for anyone else. You don't have to play for 2. You're just playing for yourself.
That's what G2 are doing so well at the moment.
太鼓の側面に穴が開かなくなりました。そうなの？
On their current half, chance to make it a 4-2 split, but it just feels more likely that it's going to be a 5-1 in favor of G2. Alamar going to be bringing a bit more aggression this round. We've seen him flexing around on all sorts today, but
これちょっと今回はアレマーが差し役になってちょっとリズム変えてきたね。カメラ壊さずにいった。
He's already going to quickly make some ground in through to reception, puts the challenge in, but isn't able to land the finishing blow.
He's just looking to gain control of an early part of the map. Has taken in towards house and everything that comes with that. Finally, we're seeing
やっと止めたね。
for ITB. Kanto with an opening pick.
これ別の方向から刺しに行ってたんだな。いや、そうそう、フェンリルとか使えるんだったら積極的にどんどん使った方がいいと思うんだよな。フェンリルマジで G2 天敵だと思うぞ。なんかカントのエイムがさっきから怪しいな。飲んだんじゃないこれ。カント飲んでない大丈夫？
Instead, trying to actually, I like that, making sure that nobody from G2 could just slip in unannounced, because that's what we see sometimes when G2 and things don't go as planned. Somebody will try and get creative. So locking down those creative avenues for G2, which is just simply jump in a window and open up the site. I like that.
ほら全然ドラム壊せないじゃん。なんかめちゃくちゃ力入ってないゲームに。
As the Fenrir, you've got to be really careful with the use of those gadgets. Alamau is now going to try and sneak his way through.
さすがにな。
He's met by Azza.
いやもう一回来るだろうは読めるよな今の。
Didn't gain anything. Benja, he has managed to creep his way in. He's going to put some good damage in on Snowa, but again, not able to land the finisher. Virtue from inside a drum. Not sure if he knows that Kanto is going to be on those main stairs or not. Benja put himself into gold. He's really trying to fight his way through there, but it's just a front-up gunfight. He will find the kill over onto Kanto, though. And if Uno can win his one getting into Geisha, this could be devastating for Into the Breach.
まずいですよ。またノアのスーパーハイドに頼るしかないのかこれ。
The defense, Noah, he needs to win this, like you said, Ollie. If Uno just jumps in and kills him, then they lose Geisha control. You can see the back, and they know exactly where Noah is.
潰しに来た。まあそりゃそうだよな。
This guy is just everywhere right now. That DMR,
あんだけ時間使わされたら。
For Benja, not the ace. It cannot be the ace. The time is ticking. Now the diffuser needs to get planted by Uno. Oh my word, somebody's at the bar for him, and it will be the ace for Benja, Master. Doki, I'm with you, son. I can't believe it either. How's he done that?
All of that
カントボールマウス使ってる。
into gold, into T. He was out on the balcony, inside a drum, in the connector.
ここまで来たら寝なくて最後まで見届けた方がいいんじゃないか。
started spraying, started picking up those kills.
正直あと2ラウンドで決まる気がするな。
There were 2 men down.
だって高層ビル防衛でしょ。高層ビルはねマジで連携取れてないと崩せないと思う俺は。本当厳しいと思ってる。なんでこうなったんだろうね。ファーストマップ銀行でもよかった気がするな。まあでも実の銀行強いからな。判断難しいところだったけど、ナイトヘイブンラボが全て辻褄合わなかったな。もうあそこでもう全然鳴かず飛ばずだったからリズム全然取れなかったね。前線止めたら ITB いけるって言った瞬間の 3v5 のフラグ回収は芸術。マジでそうだな。いけなかった。ごめん。
G2 will be more than happy with 5-1, and Again, it's just you get that sense of feeling it's going to be the same as NihgtHeven.
ミオ3、3試合やったのに試合のアーカイブ7時間残らない。すげえな、それ。ITB のワイルド戦が湘北の山王戦だったんだろうな。燃え尽きちゃったんだろうな。
Whenever it comes to attacking Skyscraper and just give us something. Just give us dreamers a chance.
We do love a Cinderella story, and we do love an underdog or a long
めっちゃドキドローン探すね。
really coming off. At the moment, looking increasingly unlikely.
いやー、ここは
There are other people that exist
でも
other than those that are on electronics, my friend.
あれもあと
They come
わ
in
わ
like
わわわわ
thick and
もう全力あたりだ。
We can
あ
barely keep up with the action. Virtue and Uno, they've cleaned shop. Kendrew, he's still got 3 Yin Candelas, by the way.
Dear.
And he's going to fluff his shots there onto Virtue.
マッチポイント。
Not the best showing.
いや俺も今シーズンの ITB を褒めてあげたいと思うよ。これでチャンスが終わるっていうのが本当にかわいそうだなと思う。
There's no sight gameplay. But whenever ITB try and go for a roam game and try and kill all the attackers, they're the one who gets
それを試すのが来年の3月までないっていうのは結構えぐいよな。
It's a massive night and day difference, and I had that whenever it went 4-1, I just had a feeling. I used the word chalked, and I wasn't just talking about the round.
そうです。次 G2 が取ったらメジャー確定です。でインビも確定かな。
6-1 G2. We had a 7-3
こうなるとでも CAG と G2 やってほしいな。
and
Same
we are
scoreline
set
again.
to have
ね。
a very quick game here on Skyscraper. I think demo at this point.
いやあとね俺気になったのはケンドリューが結構打ち負けるのが気になってるんだよな。見てよる0の7でしょケンドリュー。昨日からね打ち負け結構えぐいんだよなケンドリュー。 1v1 で生き残ってて2回ぐらい昨日負けたんだよな。
They have a 5-round advantage on you. Of course, they are going to be flexing that, and they're going to be playing up in your face.
Yeah. I look at
あれ EU の大会だっけ？
as much as this showing
Element
just has not been
2
good for them, I still think that they have honestly exceeded expectations of where I think this team should be. This team is only really just came together for this stage, and I think what they've been able to do and get to this point, the desk were saying, if you told us 6 months ago that this side was going to be here, 1 game away from going to the major, you laughed at them. You would have.
Yeah.
So, as much it is,
いや俺インビ実装 LCQ 実装は反対派なんだよな。やっぱ1年間戦い切った選ばれし者だけが集まるのがインビにしてほしいと思うけど、だからといってここから3月まで試合がないっていうのはちょっとないかなと思うから、なんか救済策作りたいよな。
Yeah. And that's the difference, isn't it? You've got G2 in a last chance qualifier. It's not a usual circumstance, is it? And when these players turn it on, they really turn it on full blast. See how this opening goes here. Doki looking to try and get involved. Will be punished by Noah. Noah in good position now to do something about some of these electronics and should be able to allow Yonka to move through and start to get the wall open.
ブラストって CSGO の組織と同じですか？同じです。キョロちゃんさん、初めてのチャットありがとう。まあそれもあって僕らは結構期待したんだけどね、ブラストさん。ミニメジャーっていうか、まあメジャーできてないチーム、出てないチームだけで、例えばエリアのレギュラーシーズンがあって、もう本当に一部メジャーの賞金が回ってるとかだけでもいいと思うんだよな。優勝賞金100万とかでもいいと思うんだよ。今500万ぐらい出てるからな、これ。レギュラーシーズン優勝。
Fly has walked into the spider's web. Ollie, well, he gets eaten alive. The rest of the players from G2, look at them, passive as ever, looking to play out of the sight, avoiding the nades.
It's the classic G2 retake, isn't it? They know that the site isn't the safest place to be right now. And because they are 2 men behind, they don't really have the fortune to be able to watch everything. don't have too much information to be going off either. No bulletproof to watch, and you can start to hear that execute come through. The smokes are going to do a lot of the covering, but Ben just picked up too. This could be very dangerous indeed. The plan starts to go down 2 versus 3.
まあエリア取れてないからちょっときついけどね。さすがにか。いやでも14キルならなかった。いういとまも与えてもらえんかった。
That's good attack, solid, straight to the point, back to basics.
いや俺 LCQ はマジでいらんと思う。年間ポイントで争うべきだと思うけど、まあ、オフシーズンを他のチームにチャンスを与える何か別のものがあった方がいいと思うんだよ。COD だと 2v2 のコミュニティ大会とかしょっちゅうやってんだけど、へえ 2v2 それゲーム性全然違うんだね。ワールドカップはね、俺多分来年やろうとしてると思うんだけど、今年のこのオフシーズン長すぎ問題で変わると思うけどね。だから夏明けたと思うんだよな。
It's only a matter of time before G2 just get that one round. One misstep from ITB and it's over. It's like going up against the mountain. If you just put 1 foot wrong, it'll cut you in half.
でもワールドカップってさ、ファンからするとさ、楽しみだなっていう側面あるんだけど、俺チームの目線に立っちゃうから、チームに1ミリもメリットないんだよ。ワールドカップ出場級みたいなのがあれば別だけど、エレメント2 NA のやつだよね、そうだよね。なんだっけ、なんとかランブルが EU のやつでしょ。
Looks as though G2 are going to play a little bit more reserved at the start of this round. We haven't really got the same rushing out and looking to challenge people initially, at least with the positions that the players currently occupy. Instead, we're still doing a little bit of site setup last minute. Kanto going to skeleton key open and see if he can put a little bit of the pain onto Benja right now.
それもあって微妙だなと思ってんだよな。
Benja just looking to get some early engagements, but will quickly rotate back. Without the Azami, means that Benja isn't as safe as
ワールドカップやるんだったらもう1シーズン作ってくれよと俺ももう今年見る限り。
which is very similar to what the Azami can do. Just block off these certain avenues of approach for ITB. We'll start to make their way now over towards Dragon, over towards Drum. Pretty run-of-the-mill stuff right now for ITB. Azur, 7-7 at the moment. He's got a nade in his pocket, and he's looking to improve that KD if he can just slip into delivery win as well.
キョロちゃんさん、フォローもありがとうございます。
Doki, yeah, it is over on the Solus. Doki just trying to find out some information, but ITB holding fast as it stands, Ollie.
参加費払って優勝者が総取りみたいな大会やらないんですかね。規定的にいけたかな、それ UBI さんが規定的に。めっちゃ頭痛い。何の話？急にどうした？呪いじゃないそれ。近くに呪物ないか。大丈夫か？
Alamar isn't feeling the need to dip out of here though. More than happy to play, recognizing the clock left and knowing that, well, he's got more chance of dying as he rotates out than anything else. But it's going to be Azur to kick things off with a great kill.
Misses an easy kill. Twitch is just
ケンドリュー0キル8です。やべえな。
Azur had double. Unu's gone. Benja on the hatch now. He also suffers the same fate. Azur popping off in pantry. He's thirsty for more though. 2 players to find. G2 have to go for the retake. Diffuser slowly ticking away. Kanto finds Virtue. ITB again still hang in there for yet again another round. G2 of another one just
八百長的なの起こりそう。何の話？
And I think he knows. I think Alamau knows that I think it's over. He's just going to try and get
じゃあおねむも。
exit kills as he can. And there's Azur.
いや流れは変わってないっす。 まあよく攻めてるとは思うけど。
I'm not sure. I don't know. Trying to open up some angles with the shotgun himself and just playing whack-a-mole, isn't he?
さすがに。
Attackers don't know where to look.
まあここはサードポイントだからさ。
Almost the visual sigh of exhaustion that it is not going to be this round. We've probably just let that one slip a little bit too far. Again, great push from Into the Breach. It's starting to get a little bit dangerous now.
パンちゃんケンちゃんご機嫌テレビだな。あれ加トちゃんケンちゃんなんとかあれ何あれだったっけ？ドリフ終わった後の加トちゃんケンちゃんなんだったっけ？名前忘れちゃった。
How many times is a 50-50 going to go?
あれなんとかビデオだっけ？元気が出るテレビじゃねえし。
It really is tense stuff here for Into the Breach, but kudos to him because they're fighting tooth and nail. They're not going out without a fight.
芸者のよく固めだよ。
No, they're not. Still in there. G2 need to maybe put the accelerator back on. I think they went into cruise control earlier, and ITB were looking for a bit of a race against them. G2. Last time they were here, it was just a straight bloodbath on this side of the map, towards the east side. You would expect that ITB will not fall for the same tricks previously. Monty will come in. It's going to play a big part for gaining the information against G2, which I think ITB have actually struggled with quite a bit, just gaining the information where G2 players are going to be stationed. So bringing in that Monty will help them out just a little bit more, control the game more. Looks as if they're still going to go for the east side clear. Ollie, a bold play considering what happened to them
これ
last
ケンドリュ
time.
ーのモンタかなり重要だぞ。でもケンドリューのモンタは結構あれだからな、ポイントになってるからな。いやマジでケンドリューなえんなよ。これなえなかったらオーバータイムあるぞ。オーバータイムいったら絶対 ITB メジャーいけるぞ。この流れでマップ取ったらマジで大逆転はあるぞ。あ、加トちゃんケンちゃんご機嫌テレビやね。はいはいはい。俺あんなに見てたのに忘れちゃったよ。大丈夫だとかもう大ヒットが生まれた番組だったからな。
No lesion this time to deal with that Monty. Do have the toxic babes of Alamau, however.
Bencher takes a lot of damage. Down to a minuscule amount of HP.
14キロ止めろ。
ITB haven't really taken control of much as of yet. They've got the breach open. There's so
いいぞケンドリュー、プレッシャー
many
かけ続けるんだ。
from G2 stationed on this side of the map.
まずい。
Creeps down, has the shotgun in hand. Another nade.
ショットガンマスターがいるぞ。うまいね。グッドナイト。みんな来た。もうちょっと接戦になると思ったんだけどな。
As though it's any other game to them. 7-3, 7-3. That's such a comfortable scoreline for G2. Never at any point did they look out of it. Were they weak, strong, right the way through? All of the games that they played.
まあでも ITB よく頑張ったな。シーズン通してで言うと。よくここまで残ったよ、本当に。ねえ、ノックアウトステージもちゃんと出て。
It really is.
It's a weird thing
to be sat here casting G2 going into a major through a last chance qualifier. It's not really where we expect this team to be actually getting their path to the major. But you can hold
決勝には G2 が進出か。どういう話？さあみんなに戻そう。ポイント忘れないうちにな。俺すぐ忘れちゃうから。G2 です。この結果を予想していた視聴者に25万6818チャンネルポイントが授与されます。おめでとうございます。オフシーズンもコミュニティ出まくってたし ITB はようやったわ。ああそうだね。
I would say my favorite competitive moments in R6 have all been
今日はボロ負け。次はやるとしたらブラジルか。でもブラジルって何時からだっけ？ブラジルの LCQ のまだ組み合わせ出てないかな、さすがに。今やってるしな。13日1時だね。さすがにリアルタイムで見れんの。13日って金曜日だよね。13日ってさあ残すところはブラジルだけになりましたね。まあ日本も残ってますけど、僕の個人配信でミラーするっていう意味でお腹空いたんですけど、この時間に食うなら何食べます？お茶漬けかな。 マイナーズマジで成長してたらクソ笑うんだけど、そんなことある？でもなんかね、ブラジルさ、もうなんか組み合わせ決まってんだけど、これ本当？ほら、なんかもう組み合わせ決まってるよ。リキッドロスなんだって。実インビ決定か。E1 とマイナーズ、ブラックドラゴンズとスーパー、このなんかチームよくわかんないんだよな。誰がいいんだこれ。俺全然知らない。アーサーだっけ。あれアーサーってアナウンサー？あ、違ったわ。奈良連合の元コーチかと。ビボキードの相手がまだ決まってないみたいな。朝こっちじゃなかった。ごめん。あ、ごめん、映像遮っちゃった。申し訳。というわけで皆さんご視聴いただきありがとうございました。思いのほか2時半に終わりました。比較的ゆっくりしやすい時間です。ゆっくりしやすいかどうかわかんないけど、予想外の速さで終わったね。今日だって全部2マップじゃんね。しかも結構な差で終わってったな、グランドファイナルとか。あ、インビ半分決まったか。早いね。いや、毎日本当に一生懸命丁寧にあれだな、過ごさないと。あっという間にまた2月のインビ終わって2024年も始まりましたねとか言ってたらさ、一瞬で終わりそうだな。ちょっと毎日もうちょっと噛み締めるような俺生き方しよう。決めた。何を決めたかよく分かんないけど。というわけでご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またアーカイブは上げていきたいと思いますけど、 YouTube の方にね。ただその今週、もう週変わったかなと思うんです。今週の午前中配信は、まあ午前中配信しないと午後仕事行っちゃうからさ、夜の配信が今不安定でさ、なんで私は、午前中に配信何かしらしたいと思うんですけど、まあ、今日起きれたらシージ普通に配信するわ、プレイ配信で、その後マンシージ作んなきゃいけないからマンシートが作って、火曜日以降に MENA ちょっと予定 X でポストで出すけど、あとこう順番とこの試合見ますっていうのをちょっとポストするわ。ハングリーさんがお気持ち表明してる？マジでKOST10% がいたぞ。ついに壁を破ったんじゃないかこれ。パックブルが13とかだったっけ。やべえ、ケンドリューマジで何もしてねえ。刻んだな。
Maybe this guy,
刻んじゃったな。
He's gonna forgive me for saying this. He won't forgive me for calling him Benny because he hates it. But he's had a shit stage.
パックブル 8% か。8% か。8% でハングリーが13とかそんな感じだったね。このオフシーズンに何が起こるかわからないって。いや、まあそりゃそうよ。どのチームも絶対そうよ。メジャーとインビ決まらなかったチームは。そりゃそうなのよ。そりゃしょうがない。8% の壁は高いな。まあ撤退かロースター全放出かどっちかだろうな。チームからするとさ、別に撤退する理由はないのよ。この段階でメジャーとインビがついえたチームはロースター放出します。で来年の頭ぐらいからスタート切れればいいと思うんだよね。シージに残るチームとしては。それをなんだろうな、リーグに残る価値があるかを、まあ、UBI さんとブラストが示せるかどうかだね。
and let's see how far we can improve.
撤退はね、資金力に余裕があるチームだったらそんなにしないと思う。ただ契約上どこまでになってるかはあると思うんだけど、普通のチームだったら、まあこのタイミングでチームを、まあ、労作放出、スタッフを放出して、で、多分予算を残すんじゃないかなと思ってる。じゃあ今日の配信は終了したいと思います。今週は、午前中見てない、リアルタイムで見れてない出場チームが決まってる LA チームとか MENA とか、あとはオセアニア、あと韓国もちょっと見切れてなかったんで、サンドボックスと D プラスのグランドファイナルだけは見ときたいなと思ってるんで、そのあたりを振り返り配信していく形になると思いますので、よかったらまた来てください。今日も遅くまでありがとうございました。よかったらフォローとサブスクお待ちしております。それではまた次回の配信でお会いしましょう。長時間ありがとうございました。お疲れ様でした。